Hello and welcome to another episode of Our Kinky Kindles, the podcast where smut is better with friends.
Oh. And the friend we have joining us today is our frequent special guest, H.
Yes.
H, we are thrilled that you're here to review ACOWAR.
I'm thrilled to be here, and I have to say the little intro's tightening up every time I come. It's like a more like, we're doing a little catchphrase now. We talked about that last time.
The evolution of the podcast.
I love.
And since you've been here last, you started saying first names.
We have. That's what I was about to ask.
Yeah.
So we
have been calling you H, like.
Because we hadn't gotten a chance to ask you.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So, here live on the pod. Are you comfortable with us using your first name?
Yeah, say my name, babe.
We will say your name.
All right.
Do you want to say it? Introduce yourself. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. I'm Hope.
That's Hope's voice. Our special guest.
So we no longer have to edit out whenever we accidentally say each other's names.
We
say Katie Bird too.
Yeah,
so
that's
nicknames.
fine.
Well, that's never going anywhere.
Yeah, nicknames are allowed.
And we still try to do first initials for partners just because
to protect their identity.
Yeah. Okay. They're not a part of this podcast.
I feel like we do that among ourselves anyway.
Yeah, true.
J and V.
J and V for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A, and now we don't have to confuse A with me.
With you.
Yeah,
oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
It works.
Well, this week, you all, we are going to be discussing A Court of Wings and Ruin, a long-awaited sequel to A Court of Mist and Fury.
My goodness.
And boy, do we have thoughts and feelings and
oh my God.
are generally just not happy.
I finished it this morning, as per usual. Skating in. A little nurse spice. Gotta keep it interesting. But I anticipated now, this is my third Sarah J. Maas book I've read, so I know it's all going to be, because I texted at some point, and I was like, I have an hour and 26 minutes left of this on 3 times speed. And I know that hour and 26 minutes is the book. Like, there's a real climax.
There sure is.
Yeah.
There's that is truly, it's like, it's a slow burn in its own right. It's like all these like long like conversations and all this, and then it's just
action.
Yeah. It's wow. And so that was all this morning, and I was riveted.
Yeah, she texted this morning and said, I have an hour and 20 minutes left, and I just said, uh-oh.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I finished it yesterday. I read for like 2 or 3 hours during the day yesterday, and then I was attending to my like Kindle timer things, which are just critical. Like,
I know
this many minutes left in the chapter of the book or whatever. So I saved the last 30 minutes because I knew I would need a bedtime read.
Oh, nice. Smart.
So I had a lot of foresight in all the free time that I had yesterday just sitting around my house.
I don't know that I could sleep after. Well, maybe it's also the 3 times speed element. Like, these are really fucking intense things to have said to you that quickly with that much intensity.
Well, the big bad had already happened.
Okay. So it was tying up loose ends.
Yeah, the big bad had happened, and so we were just like, kind of tying it up at the end. And I was like, this is going to be a nice closure.
Nice.
Before bed. Maybe I'll get a little more spice. No.
That's the turntables.
No
more wing play.
No.
There was some fucking wing play
in
this book,
God.
baby.
I have one highlight. I know I've told y'all, but I have one highlight that is fully 4 pages long. Just a 4-page long.
Nice.
Whole highlight. I sure did go back and read that last night after I finished the book. I was like,
let's revisit.
Let's
revisit this. Magic.
Yeah. Well, we'll jump right in because we have a lot of things to say. And the only other thing that we did this week was go see Barbie for the second time, and we've already covered that on the podcast.
We went with Hope.
Yeah, it was my first time, and I demanded to sit in the middle and was just receiving chirping commentary from the whole time. Yeah, Katie Bird very generously like lifted up the armrest so we could snuggle in.
Yes. I was like, this cannot be in between us.
Oh my God.
It was so good.
It was so good. It was so special to like experience it with you and like just all of us together, but also just like, oh, let me be your, I think you said, y'all were truly my Sherpa.
truly.
My Sherpas through this journey.
It was amazing.
Of the Barbie movie.
So
Hope would be like choking up, and we're like, we're not done yet. Like, there's more.
Yeah.
How's your relationship to your mom?
Yeah. How's that going?
I definitely called my mom the next morning. It was like, hey, how are you
I texted my mom and said, you have to go see this movie.
Aw. She'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I know. That's pretty much, that's been our week.
Yep.
It's just Barbie. Barbie quips.
We're being Barbie.
Yep.
I got to wear my Taylor Swift boots again, and
That
was
was magic.
God,
So many
honestly.
compliments you got on
I
them.
know,
You really
they were
did.
like, well, those are Barbie boots.
Yeah.
Barbie and Taylor Swift.
And
Yeah.
we did run into most of the teachers that work at my school at the Barbie
yes.
movie, which was not what I was 2.5 drinks in, what I really wanted to be.
Fortunately, Anna and I were ready to create a physical
That's
barrier.
right.
A wall of protection.
I was like, oh no, and they just settled around me.
It's one thing to like see coworkers out in the wild. It's another thing to see like, you know, people who like you need to be on your best behavior around. Like,
Yeah.
you gotta,
Not for the Barbie
like if we were all
movie.
selling insurance, that'd be one thing. But
I mean, it's cute. I mean, they're all like English literature teachers, so I mean, they're cool.
they were
They
They were there for
empowered.
the. They were there for the vibes, but I was just like completely shocked to be like, oh, hello.
Yeah,
I think one of them took the little picture for
Yeah, so
us
she's
too,
a teacher,
right?
a teacher and a parent of one of my students.
Oh, that was a parent.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway,
Never a dull moment here in our conservative town.
it's fun times. But you know, the Barbie movie is so fun because then it's like everyone in this theater, we're all the same.
Yes.
Like, it's like, hey,
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
So positive.
Oh my
Going to the
God.
bathroom, I walked out of the
felt so
stall,
safe.
and they said, "Thank you, Barbie."
You're so welcome, Barbie. Oh, I got
It's like-
goosebumps. It's just it was a safe space. It was very similar to the Eras Tour vibes of just like warmth and support and empowerment. There's something
Did
about
y'all
feminism.
see that TikTok that was about the Eras Tour, but it was like
Yeah.
just it, like I thought that I was like uncomfortable in a crowd until
It
I
was
went to
just
the Eras
men.
Tour, and
Yes,
yeah, it turns
it's
out
just-
it's just men.
It's just being around men.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, it's not crowds.
No.
If it's crowds of
Crowds
safe and
of
affirming people,
women or-
I was not
yeah.
anxious either time I went to the Eras Tour, and that, like
yeah.
I don't love to be in big crowds. People, same with Lizzo. Like
Yeah.
when you were like,
Yeah.
"Hey, getting out of that arena is really hard and scary," but like we're
Yeah.
like, we're good. Everyone here's we're all good.
it was such a because
That's healing.
and it
Yeah.
shows how infrequently we do feel safe. And we have some very privileged identities. You know, we're white, we're able-bodied, and but we were able to just kind of feel safe.
Just exist without having to think about it.
Yeah, it was like that mental load
Yeah.
of like checking, and that was lifted for a moment,
Yeah.
and it felt like, oh, this is maybe as close as we'll get to Barbie Land. And
yeah, girls' bathrooms I think are famous for that
Yes.
anyway, but especially the post-Barbie girls' bathroom is maybe one of the most affirming spaces I've ever.
just pink girly saying,
hi, Barbie. Oh, yes, it's so beautiful. Yeah, we experienced it together, and then went into Blood and War.
Oof. Just a lot of
There's
gore
not many
in
Barbies
this
in
one.
this.
No Barbies.
No
There's a lot
Barbies.
of battling, a lot of talking about blood dripping down the side of your face.
Black blood.
Lots of blood.
Yeah, lots of blood.
Just being like covered in dirt at all times.
Jay interrupted me at one point, the audacity. Well, I have this like in my ears, and he was like, I was like, wait, no. Favor just got covered in black blood from the cereal. I need for you to stop.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so
I'm sorry
upset
to
about
jump
that.
ahead.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
sorry
have to
to
talk about
But I was like,
that was
what do you want?
That was devastating.
Yeah, but to be interrupted in the middle of that.
Oh yeah, no thanks. I would have like hissed. Like
Yes!
Farrah be hissing all the time, and I'm like,
Stop it.
Yep.
Okay, let's dive right in.
All right. So the first thing we need to talk about is Farrah infiltrating the Supreme Court. And the first thing that I want to talk about is her flirting with Lucian to piss off Tamlin.
That was that was turning the kids against themselves. That's what that was.
Oh, it sure was. Using your womanly wiles to make men fight.
She was like barely clothed, and she just woke up from a nightmare, and she was like,
scared.
"Oh, I'm so scared. Lucian, save me."
Yes.
And then
It's like he didn't notice the shield I put around so we wouldn't hear Tamlin coming, and I walked out and I dried the tears produced by my water powers from the summer court. Yes, bitch.
I did love that. I thought that was super powerful and dark, and even the way it was written was really great. Of like, we didn't really know what the scheme was,
and then we found out after.
Yes.
Yeah,
I loved it, and I'm not mad about it because honestly, Lucian did abandon her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got some beef with Lucian, and I think that fair play.
I think so too, and there was never any danger of him, engaging in that because he's like, oh, I'm a mated male now. I don't like.
Yeah.
It was very low purely risk. To
for him. He was like, oh, my
Tamlin.
friend Feyre, she's scared. I gotta take care of her.
Yeah, but she knew that would piss the hell out of Tamlin.
It really only works because Lucian is like a good male.
Yeah.
Lucian is a good male. Yeah.
And Tamlin is not. And so
he sure isn't.
So
before we get to how tampon is so stupid, let's discuss. I know. That feels vaguely hey, you know what? We'll roll with it.
Good old Tammy.
Tammy. Making a fool of Ianthe at the ceremony. That was deeply the Ianthe revenge of this book.
Oh
She's
my
on
god.
vigilante shit.
This was just revenge. This was vigilante shit against specifically Ianthe.
There's nothing
Ianthe
I do better than revenge.
Well,
Oh
and
my
in the last
God.
book, I was like, I fucking hate
I
Ianthe.
hate her.
Like Ianthe's,
Hate her.
like the girl betrayal is in some ways
It's
awful. Deeper.
I agree.
Like this, like you think this is your ally, this is someone supporting you. Then it does like a partner betrayal. That's a different kind of betrayal.
Yeah.
And so
She underestimated just who she was stealing from.
shot.
Everybody
That's
take
a
a shot.
theme that always comes up between Feyre and Ianthe too. Feyre is always like pointing out to the end of like she keeps on underestimating.
She brought 2 guards. Huh, interesting.
Yeah. But
It's so satisfying.
making herself glow.
That was another one that I didn't see coming at
funny.
all. And to hear her like, I guess they didn't notice that the marks got moved a
The
little
wind
bit.
just kind
and
of blew it
Interesting.
closer to me.
How could this have happened? Oh my
and then
god!
Ianthe trying to like justify it, and it's like, well, the cauldron, and it's like, okay.
And then
Bitch.
Reese coming into her mind being like, oh, Feyre, cauldron blessed.
Damn straight I am.
I love, and I feel like that was like what Feyre took away from being at the Court of Dreams. I love that we get to call it the Court of Dreams.
It is my
I
dream.
get a little weepy every time.
The Court
I'm
of
like,
Dreams.
I'm
Oh my
the
God.
Court of Dreams.
Someone-
I'm a dreamer.
At the end, someone was it the Surreal? She was like, I
Goosebumps.
finally got it. Like, the Surreal's a dreamer too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
God, I love the cereal.
I know.
Y'all,
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
on my period. I'm gonna have tears, and that's
Yeah,
good. That's
pour
good.
one out for the cereal.
Oh, rip.
Okay, well, Tamlin's big blow up. We're still at the beginning of the
Yes. Oh, before I just want to
Yeah,
address
please.
something that you asked.
Please.
I think this is when you were writing notes. I don't know if you did anymore,
book.
but
I wrote one note.
yeah. And you were like, "Is it weird to be attracted to like someone who's like physically like internally hot, like his body temperature is hot?" And
Wait, who?
What?
you said, "Let me pull up the note."
Hold on.
Can you
hold
quote
on,
me?
Hold on.
What the fuck did I say?
Okay. They snuggle to stay warm on the trip to
was
the
it
ball.
Lucian?
He's fiery and full of sexy warmth.
Yes.
I'm into him. Is that okay? And I said, I did respond and say, this is a question for people who have watched New Moon, which you haven't.
Oh, I
Because
have not.
Jacob is.
We've addressed this on the pod.
Yeah, because Jacob is like Kristen Stewart. Bella calls him her own personal son because he's so hot. Like
He's
he's
so
warm.
cozy.
Yeah, his body runs really.
That's
warm.
a whole element, I think,
Yeah.
of. Yeah.
Is
it's
it?
a whole.
That I mean, people who are Team
so
Jacob would say
funny.
no. That's you're supposed to be attracted to the warm,
Okay, so this has been done before. The idea of the man being
like a sun presence, like this warm.
oh, he can protect and keep warm.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, Lucian.
You're having a whole come apart about being attracted to Lucian.
Well, because I
which
just
is fine.
Lucian's so
I
attractive,
think
no?
he's
Yeah,
hot.
Lucian
God,
is hot.
absolutely.
Well, and yeah, I'm thrilled about a Lucian book, but yeah, I think because there is one, right? There's a Lucian.
Does that exist actually?
The theory
or we
that
just
I
think
have
it's
heard
going to?
from SGM has a whole cinematic universe, right? All of her Throne of Glass, Crescent City, they're all connected.
I'm excited to read those.
Apparently, Reese shows up at the end of the second Crescent City book, which I have not read, but he shows up. So they're all connected. What I have heard from my friend Ashley, who is a big super fan of SJM,
Amazing.
is that either it's the one or two things can happen. It's going to be Lucien and Elaine in their own book, or because Elaine is going to reject the mating bond, Lucien is going to die protecting her in some book.
Oh wow!
No.
So like, it's either going to be really good for him or it's going to end very bad. So I'm not sure if he's going to get his own book. I hope he does, but
I just feel like Lucien has
but
been
it would be
such
like
a.
him to die.
It would be. That's
Yeah.
really on
Well,
me.
there was so much foreshadowing too about his dad, Hampton Inn, the
Helion.
Helion.
Yeah, I listen to these, so I don't see their names.
Hampton.
Yeah, Hampton.
I listen to them very fast.
Not Wyndham. Don't take it all the way back.
Wyndham. These are all. There's one room at the
Hampton,
end. We stay, you know what I mean? The one Hammy, the guy, but hamstring.
Helion.
Is that who you're
I love
thinking
Helion.
of? The king of the day court?
Yeah.
Bio Daddy?
Pansexual king.
Yes. Because one of them is the father. Remember when Reese? Sorry,
Helion.
you're jumping all over.
Helion is
Helion. I was just
Lucian's
making
father.
sure
And
that-
that's a note that we have later on.
I
but-
felt like that was a deep, and we'll get to that note and cover it more thoroughly. But I felt like that was like, oh, this character is very well rounded. I would like to hear more about him.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm
I agree.
invested. Lucien
Okay.
was great.
Tamlin's
Yes.
big blow up. We can go back.
2 thumbs down. Tamlin's big blow up.
I
Speak on
no
it.
notes on Feyre. The way that she
She-
like allowed herself to be in the middle of that was super triggering and super horrifying
yeah,
for
yeah.
her, but also like
Come at me.
go ahead.
Show
Let's
them
go
who
ahead.
you show them who you are.
100%.
I will risk being hurt in this, and it. I mean, that's a classic. Y'all don't try this at home.
Sure.
Actually, this is not. It's not like it did make him grovel and apologize and all of that, and that is exactly what she wanted.
And that is the cycle of domestic violence.
Because she was
100%.
manipulating him, and
Right.
so, but like, no, I know exactly what's going on there. We used to get, but for her purposes of trying to infiltrate the Spring Court, and you know, it was pristine. It was perfect. Because it showed, and then the guards were like, wait a minute.
I think
Tamlin
that is
a piece of shit.
First highlight in the book was just like the intention that Feyre had of like, she says of 2 of the guards that she names, if I had asked them, they would have handed me their own knives to slit their throats because they felt so guilty.
because they didn't protect her.
Because they didn't protect her. And I just...
Beautiful. Yeah.
Masterful. And to think
She knows what
about
she's
like
doing.
Reese like monitoring the whole time, being like, that's my bitch.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
it was such Reese vibes. It was such like, I am actualized in a different way now.
Yes.
I have a
Yeah.
whole new type of agency available to me. And
Yes.
I am not going to feel bad about using it because here I am.
I'm sure not.
And I think
Yeah.
that is part of why I don't mind there not being as much spice in these books, because like,
Oh, yeah. I love
it,
this story.
It triggers the same centers in my brain. Like when Feyre goes upstairs and she gets in the bath, and then Reese is immediately like, "Are you hurt? Are you okay?
Yes.
I want to kill him." And I'm like, "Yes."
It's hot.
That is the same. That gives me the same rush of feeling as like any
I see.
spicy scene would
I
do.
agree. Yeah, I
The
feel
emotional
like,
spice.
Yeah, which is an essential part of spice
Still
for
spicy.
me anyway.
Yep.
It's very important. And so, yeah, all of their conversations, and even just that, like, Reese felt really strongly about Tamlin's assholery, and just like all of it, just hearing that through the mating bond. That mating bond,
I like that.
it's hot.
I like that a
Pride
lot.
flickering down the bond.
Oh, the pride flickering down the bond. Yes,
Be proud of me.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's still never, in a classic Reese way, he still never stepped in. Like, he was totally confident in
Because he
Feyre's
trusts
ability
her.
to handle her shit.
He believes in her.
I thought there were several times throughout the book where, I don't know, I think that's a real gift to a trauma baby, like being able to borrow someone else's confidence of
Yeah.
like, he has the most faith in her and really does believe that she's his equal, and
Yeah.
that kind of like gives her something to aspire to or to like lean into for herself in a way that I think is just super cool. Like Tamlin could never.
He empowers her.
It's empowering.
Well, and seeing, like, she can see herself through his eyes with this, like, strong, beautiful, powered woman, and, like, herself through Tamlin's eyes with this, like, meek thing that needs to be protected and shielded away and like can't use her powers.
Don't rock the boat. Yeah, but Reese is not here to turn Feyre into his vision or his idea of what he needs her to be for, you know, the world's good or whatever. He's empowering her to be her best her. And that includes being the High Lady. And it's really impactful. It's Sarah J. Maas knew exactly what was going on with their relationship. Because we see this arc of Feyre throughout this book especially. I mean, she's still afraid. She's still working through a lot of stuff. But wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of Feyre being a badass in general, her revenge on Ianthe.
That was great. Like, so reading about it in the physical book and then listening to it in the dramatized graphic audio, very different experiences.
I believe.
Because you know what they do in the graphic audio is they have a rhythmic sound of someone actually hitting a rock against like a fleshy something. It's
gross.
Yeah, it was.
It was tough to read.
Yeah,
it was.
I told you it was going to be gross. Her revenge is like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying she didn't deserve it, but
it was intense.
Got some rage.
I kind of. These are very graphic books. It's very graphic violence, which is not something that I think about all that much. But in all of them, like even the first one, even the first book with all the like tests at the end, like it's very graphic. And I feel like, do I just miss content warnings about that, or like do we just breeze over that in like the book talk realm? Like,
I do think people are very desensitized.
Yeah,
I think there's a broad cultural desensitization to gore, and
I have never seen a trigger warning for this book.
On the
even
gore of
not
it
even
all.
for sexual assault, and there is sexual assault in this book.
Yeah.
These are, well, that's what drives Feyre to get her revenge, is seeing Lucian about to get like literally
and intimate partner violence and then more, and her story, like there's a lot of really heavy intense themes that are not really explicitly covered, but I think as far as gore is concerned, that's normalized, but that's not what I consume as a sensitive baby who works with folks with trauma. Like I am connecting with people's emotional violence and gore all the time, and like helping heal and helping them walk through it. And so I max out at a certain point.
I think the awareness also comes with like age and brain development, because I remember I read The Hunger Games like 8th grade and then through high school, and those are incredibly violent,
also
like extremely
violent.
visceral descriptions of children dying. And I was like, this is great. I love this book. But then now, even like if I watch the movies, I reread the books, I'm like, oh my God.
It hits deep.
I read this as a child. Like that is like talking about slitting people's throats, and like in the first book, the description of Cato dying by the like wolf creatures.
Oh God,
it's several pages. It's and like he screams and it's horrible.
Yeah, that's true.
I think, the like sensitization to violence comes with age, and I think there's a big demographic of younger people who are reading this book. Who maybe just don't have the same.
Doesn't click.
It doesn't have the same effect.
Well, that's I like that perspective. I think that feels like it holds true for me, because I used to get into all kinds of fantasy and it didn't bother me, and now I do have a tenderness towards like and so I'm glad that I that's something to steward well. I'm a highly sensitive person, HSP, and so
I think that's like aligned with all of our own little healing journeys of like, actually I can like attend to things that don't feel as good to me, and like be soft with myself about that. Like that's okay.
I'm glad that bothers me, is what I'm saying. No judgment against the people who are like, I didn't notice any gore, but like if you did notice gore and it was like, then good. You're not weak. That's fine. That's having a heart.
I had a moment about it yesterday when I was on my like reading spree, because V like started looking over my shoulder and was like, oh, something spicy happening, and I was like,
actually no,
we're here in the mud and the blood and the guts. Like it's
great.
Not.
People are being misted.
People are drowning standing up on dry land.
Tarquin.
Jesus.
I like that he did away with those blood rubies.
I love that he did that, and then
that was cute.
I like that. I think it was Reese that was like, "Oh, we can let Tarquin decide what to do with these like traitors," and he was like, "Well, you're fucking dead.
Bye."
He just killed them.
Tarquin, I'd like more info on too.
I love Tarquin.
I
had such a little crush on him when we first went to
same
summer place in the last book.
Yeah, I was like, Farrah, you and Tarquin, get it on.
That could be cute.
I know.
I like Tarquin too. I would be interested in a book with him because he's alone. Like there's nobody is with him, and
maybe
he's young.
They will. And he wants to be
and
friends
it seems
with Reese.
like he has a journey of being hardened over time, and I would like to see. I'm interested.
Curious. Yeah. Well, speaking of folks changing over time, Farrah and Lucian's journey to the Night Court.
Yes.
We have a sub note. The appearance of our bad boy
with 2 smiley faces.
I was on an airplane
reading this
home from Mexico, reading about this, and just like gasping. Vincent was like, "There are people around."
I big. I was so happy.
Yes,
I got like a little embarrassed
on my face when Cassian Shadow was on the ice. I was like, "That's my boy. That's my man."
I cheered.
Thank you to my man.
Are you getting weepy again, babe?
I am. I'm just gonna get weepy.
I had to like put. There were so many times reading this that I was like, "Ooh,
yeah."
Okay, let me put this down. Pop.
Yeah,
and they were like, "I suggest you get your hands off my lady."
Yes. Like she doesn't need rescuing. She is strong, she is brave. And sometimes they need reinforcements.
Yes. And she stands up and she's like, "Guess what, bitch? You just committed a war crime. I'm High Lady of the Night Court."
Whoa! I know. And then Lucian was like, "High Lady?" It's like, damn straight.
That's right, Lucian.
That's right, Lucian.
High Lady.
Oh my god.
So good.
And Lucian knew. Didn't Lucian know about her asking Tamlin? I think he was around in that conversation in the first book when she was like, "Does that make me the High Lady?" Just like innocent and naive, and Tamlin's like, "Ha, ha,
yeah.
ha, no,
a woman with a
silly
title and
woman.
high court.
That would be strange and wrong.
Consort.
It's never happened.
So I think Lucian was privy to that.
He was
so
like,
I love that.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. It comes up later
Starting
when they
to make
all
some more
meet.
sense.
Yeah. Oh, I do love it.
And
That ice was scary.
It was
the ice was scary, and Farrah gets to reveal a little bit of her power to Eris, which was kind of dangerous because
Eris, come on.
we can talk. I have a note about Eris later that we can talk about.
I can definitely like he's just a classic morally gray.
Yeah. We got some morally gray.
I think he's kind of hot.
Yeah, fine. Okay. And he's a little protective of Lucian, which comes out later on, and I love that.
Yeah.
And during the meeting of all the High Lords, Eris wins me over a little bit. When he's like telling both his dad and his brothers to tighten up, I'm like, okay.
And his protectiveness over his mom is kind of cute.
I know.
It's cute.
7 sons.
It's cute.
Yeah, it did. Again, back to fucking Lucian, who does fly away for much of the book at the end, and so we don't get to spend a lot of time with him there. So we'll focus on while we've got him. But I have a lot more empathy for Lucian, having now meeting the brothers. I'm like, oh, these are assholes. Like this would have been horrible.
Yeah,
it clicks in a whole new way of
it makes more sense.
And of course, yeah. Anyway, I'm fascinated.
Sure does. And to hear about his mom's story too, of having that affair,
and then be with what's his name,
with Helion. Well, she was. They were. And then she got super
Baron. It would be okay if he did not exist anymore.
Baron can go to hell.
I am super here for Eris unaliving. I'm ready for that.
I would read that.
Fun.
I would read that book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eris overthrowing, getting a little soft girl.
I know.
I'm interested in that.
Speaking of little soft girls turned high ladies, the reunification of Reese and Feyre. Who cried?
So, I did the first time I read it, not the second time. But.
Okay, so three tears were shed the first time upon reading this. Reunification.
Oh, God.
Can you even?
I did. I will say I was so frustrated. So they,
there's a critique.
I have a critique. Lucian, they're in the lobby, and Lucian says, "You're High Lady of the Night Court," and then Reese says, "Indeed she is." And then she falls to the floor. He picks her up and he says, "Go be somewhere else." I'm like, yes, let's fucking go. Do you know what they do for the next 20 pages? They have a conversation. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Wrong holes. I do like, there's a place later in there where he's like, "Do you want to eat this dinner or do you want me to eat you out?" And she says, "Don't worry, I chose wisely."
But we don't. That is a fade to black.
Suspense.
That is a fade to black. That is a fade to black.
SJM.
That was a fade to black.
But
That also made me mad.
Here
That
it
pissed
was
me off.
fun. Yeah, they
We
did.
know she can write it.
Do you know, I know that
They
was
eased into it.
frustrating, but I do think that, like, especially as a survivor of serial, like, sexual trauma, and knowing that Feyre had been in Tamlin's court for a few months, like, I think he was treading super lightly on purpose.
He was warming her up back into it. Like, that was a lot. That was a traumatic day, period.
Yeah.
So, like,
And it had been months before that. Like,
they were
even if they
easing
are mates
into
and
it.
soulmates, like, you have to get comfortable together again, like being around each other.
It felt natural to talk.
I wish that we just like had your, like, you're trying to listen to what I'm saying, but I see you being like,
You're like, no, they
bitch.
should have been fucking immediately.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
And
We respect.
I'm not saying I didn't like this. I did not. I enjoyed, but Feyre was asking the wrong questions. Like, she was like, "What about this and this and this and this?" And it's like,
That's not the point.
That's not.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all for, like, hey, give her a bath, take care of her, make her feel safe and comfortable. But Feyre, stop asking so many damn questions. This is not.
That's fair. That's reasonable.
Like, you are trauma.
This isn't the time for plot.
Yeah, we don't, like, you saw Azriel and Cassian, they're fine. You saw them, it's good. We don't need to ask any more questions.
Yep.
Yes, Cassian.
They had a lot to catch up on, okay? They had a lot to catch up on.
But they're so good. Like, just they do that other times. It's like, well, I let him see everything that happened.
exactly.
It's like, you don't have to talk.
Oh, the fast forward.
Just
I do like it when
watch
they just give each other an
little
update.
brain videos and move on with it. Like,
I know, I did think it was hot when, like, they're talking and then Reese is like, "Oh, Cassian let me into his mind," and now Eris might find him, or Lucian might find himself closer to inheriting the throne than he ever thought he would be. It's like, I'm going to kill Eris now.
I'm going to kill Eris. Yeah. Ooh, we'd love to see it.
I had sent you all that text that was like me when Tamlin threatens someone and it's like a puking emoji, and then me when Reese threatens someone, it's just heart eyes.
Just like, go right ahead. The
Giggling.
same bloody, gory threat.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, I like it.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Seems
hot,
good.
actually.
I was into that one.
Yeah, speaking of being into something, you want to read the next point, Katie Bird?
Feyre and Azriel's flying lessons with the caveat, "Teach me Shadow Daddy."
Azriel.
Azriel, come on.
So
Such a sad boy.
He's
Heartbroken
if he's
sad boy.
anyone's type, he's my type. Baby.
That's
Is he
right.
all your time? Like, this is it?
He's got a dark past.
I started seeing the point. I was like, okay.
He's got scars on his body, but he is the most respectful and protective man.
Yes.
He really is. He's not taking it out on others.
No, he sure isn't.
Yeah, he's
And he's loyal because he's pined after the same woman for 500 years.
Is this where? Oh yeah, God, we'll get into that. Is this where he tells the story of
Nefel
and her wife? I was doing the dishes. Tears.
Yeah.
Just tears.
Oh, yeah, that one was brutal.
I was choked up. That was incredible.
Picked her up off the spike and carried her.
And she could never winnow before. Like, she could never fly before.
And then she flew. Oh, God.
And then he's like, that's the, like, viewpoint that Reese and I take into Reese Cassian. Like, that any of our battles, that's what we do. We train because we believe in your abilities, even those who don't seem like they could do it. We believe. As a former special educator and former book rehab, like working with folks who people are underestimating, it's like, no, let's actually give people the credit. It's not ours to decide whether or not she's going to be able to fly. We don't just like stop training. Like, we do what we can. And sure enough, she could do it when push came to shove.
Yes,
and she saved her life.
This is why we let women be Illyrian warriors now, because we don't limit people. When they go into that, this might be a different book, but they go into the camp and they're like, train them with the other men.
Amazing!
I think that was the last book, maybe.
Train them with the other
Train
men.
them with the men because they're part of this. They're part of this squad. Like they're in this.
Well, and
military camp.
even like more and like in the battles, like the women are doing shit. Like, we'll get into it. But, like, the women are trusted to go in and, like, lead the, let's go. This is important. We value, you're also warriors. Like, whew.
Yeah, and it paid off too.
Sure did.
Like, while we're talking about Azriel training Feyre, like when they can we jump around a little?
Yeah,
When they go and rescue Elaine and like the coaching that he gives her to fly and like escape the camp, like he is fucked up physically, like and is like telling her,
but
and
she
helping.
knew exactly, and she was like, I don't know if I can do it. And he was like, no, like,
here's
remember the training. You do this, do these wings, jump this way.
Yep.
And then, oh wow, goosebumps. That was insane.
So intense.
But like the training, like that was like a little side, because I was gleaning my own things, and I'm like, yeah, like I sometimes wonder if I've got what it takes to get through this life, like to do the things, and like, can I do this? And it's like, you know what? We're gonna keep on training. We're gonna keep on doing it. We're gonna keep on, because when push comes to shove, turns out I can do hard things. Like I was getting something out of that. I'm like, Azriel, come on,
please.
Don't underestimate women.
I make no apologies for the person I become when Azriel's book comes out.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry to whoever has to deal with me.
I'm invested. I hate that his heart's going to be broken by more, but
I think it's going to be a relief after this.
He needs to be set free.
I think he's gonna.
It seems like they're all
going
going to get a
for a
fucking
minute
mate at this point.
Like, yeah. I think he's gonna get someone good. I think there's gonna be someone good for him.
Yeah, I would love that, because God, he's wonderful.
This is not on the notes, but like lots of biblical shit in this book. As we're doing the other thing, the seraphim.
Yeah,
but also, hold on. Miriam was Moses' sister biblically, and she parted the Red Sea. Not Moses. That's what that battle was about. That's like the leading the Israelites out of the promised land.
Catch that.
Bitch, are you kidding me?
Miriam split the Red Sea.
Yeah, she parted the Red Sea. It's getting deeply biblical in here.
The turning all of this on its head.
Yes.
It's like, ooh.
Yes.
I know that neither of y'all have watched Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but I stand by it as a feminist manifesto. It's amazing. But she, in one, it's hard to take out of context, but she says, like, it's this whole monologue on, like, maybe women are the point. Like, and I'm not knocking, you know, men and non-binary folks, like, but like maybe women, like maybe we're like maybe all of this battle is because we're kind of the point. We're kind of great. Like maybe the matriarchy is really what like what would happen if we empowered and trained women and like let them lead and what could happen?
Yep, it's like Robert Downey Jr. said. I think the world should be a matriarchy.
He's like, but I always believed that. But Barbie maybe just reinforced it.
Yeah, he was like, this is what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
I stand by that.
Checks
Iron
out.
Man.
I can hold emotion and logic equally, and they do not. They complement one another.
Yeah.
It
does not inhibit my ability to make decisions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I know.
Just the first couple of like even scenes in the Barbie
I
movie
know.
when they're like spitting that kind of shit, I was like,
you were not prepared. When the medal is presented,
the pacing is so fast where like it'll hit you and be like, we're moving on, more sparkles.
Yeah. Well, and then when the Nobel Prize is presented, she does not say thank you.
She says, I earned this.
She says, I worked really hard for this and I deserve this.
Yeah, I worked really hard and I deserve this.
So
yes, bitch.
Come on.
moving on.
Yeah, Miriam split the Red Sea. I did not. Ooh.
We got some.
Go off, Miriam.
Yeah. It makes me wonder about like what
satisfying.
other like cultural influences are present in the other courts that I just don't know about. Like the mythology and the like.
I think Sarah J. Maas is beyond the realist.
Her imagination is wild.
It's honestly, these are like gifted.
Her
like
mind
otherworldly
palace.
giftings. Yeah, the Mind Palace. Like, y'all, if you're dreamers, please write it because we want to read it.
I want to read about it.
We want to read your weird stuff.
My brain doesn't.
Yeah,
do
I
things
can't
like
create
I don't know
things
about
like this.
Like
I
none of this would ever
I'm a
naturally
pretty
occur to me.
creative, imaginative person. Not for fantasy books, though. I mean, not in that way. In other ways, but like this is a special kind of gifting that I appreciate. The Bone Carver.
The Return of the Bone Carver. So
What an interesting these weird creatures.
The weird creatures. I want to know, how are you all feeling about how the Bone Carver presents himself to Feyre?
I thought that was devastating, and also just like that she didn't recognize him the first time, but then so quickly when she met him the second time was like,
oh,
wait a minute,
this is
Reese's face. Like,
that was wild.
It was wild.
When Reese, at some point, it clicks for him how the bone carver shows up for Feyre.
Yeah,
and it's like
I think she told him after in the second book.
That's our son.
Yeah,
and then he asks her like, "Can you show me what he looks like?"
Well, because
that
appears
was such a
differently.
tender little exchange between the two of them.
And then Reese's tenderness too, of just like, oh wait, like that's our. Oh my god!
It's like,
I never
Reese's
imagined
face with my father's chin, and like,
I do appreciate, and spoilers, of course it's a spoiler city, but later it really, in the back of my mind, I was like, wait, he can't be dead because unless she's pregnant right now, like they're gonna have a family, they're gonna have a baby, so like, right?
I don't talk about that.
This face.
God.
What's your stance?
Okay, so here's my thought. I think it's precious that she can see the kid. So in Silver Flames,
That was really sincere.
Silver Flames is an interesting book in that it seems like Sarah J. Maas decided to just go away with all of the feminist thoughts she's ever had in her entire life.
And now Feyre is going to be a mother, and that's what makes her...
Well, it's not just that. It's the process of how the baby comes to be, and you know, the danger that it puts Feyre's body in, and it is not great.
We haven't heard much about, like,
Interesting.
aside from knowing that it was big bad that Amarantha killed all those kids at the court, we haven't learned much about, like, how high fae reproduce.
It's very rare.
But yeah, in other fantasy universes, but that still have this kind of like fae structure. Yeah, it's very rare. Children are like cherished and really.
I think Reese says at some point, it's like, yeah, hey, kids are like very rare and precious gifts. I think he says that at some point, and that he like would love to have a kid, but like not yet.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, well, I think. No, like I agree with your point, and I'm sure that it is like I'm interested to listen to the rest of it, and it is possible to be an amazing, powerful high lady, fae, and feminist, and be a mom.
Sure,
as someone who is child free by choice.
Yeah, no, I'm
but
not.
This is a different vibe.
I don't want to explain why it's so anti-feminist, but once you read it, you'll be like, what the fuck?
Okay. I believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. Weird. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm interested.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
The journey of them having, and also they give the baby the dumbest fucking name.
Okay, well,
anyway,
is it better than the bone carver?
It's better than bone carver. But anyway, so like this, Silver Flames is a whole other thing.
Really?
It just, hey, the spice is awesome.
Okay, but the plot is not.
We're
like,
gonna read it, right? We're gonna do
of course,
Twinkles and Starlight. What's the
Christmas?
Oh, that's the Christmas special.
The Christmas special.
And that book is
Silver
fine.
Flames.
Yeah. But it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
I mean, Cassian and Nesta are into some crazy shit.
I believe that.
Cassian and
freaks.
Two twin flames.
Cassian is a freak. However, Sarah J. Maas has said that Azrael is the dirtiest of them all. So I am interested in it.
I am curious. Wow, I'm invested. Okay, well that's the bone carver being her son is fascinating. I am just it all comes to a head at the end with the bone carver and the human hair one.
I thought that it was
the human hair one, the weaver.
The weaver.
Striga,
like Strigonona, like folklore of like. That's what I'm saying. This is some literary
Beef stroganoff
ass shit.
I know. Beef stroganoff. Y'all are welcome for the synonyms. If you'd like some alternate names for these folks, we've got it covered.
I thought that with the bone carver, initially, like, I think a thing that we learned throughout this book is that all the, like, big bad spirits are not big and bad. They're
fine.
Just, like...
I know!
This is what, and if you're familiar with the Dungeons & Dragons universe,
this
is what we call, like, a neutral. This is a true neutral.
Yeah.
A true neutral.
Yeah.
They're really not.
Yeah.
It's the humans' lore and even the Fae, like, talking about these creatures that have made them so evil. And
Yeah. So I thought initially that it being Feyre and Rhys's kid was like manipulative and like evil, like bad.
Well, maybe
But
it was
then
kind
it's
of.
like-
But I think what you see has
I don't
something to do with
think so.
you. It's like not
Yeah.
really what he's. I don't think he
He
has
doesn't
control
choose
of
it actively.
Yeah.
like,
it's your dreams. It's similar to the mirror.
to the Ouroboros.
That we'll get to that.
Aurora Borealis green.
Speaking of which, the Aurora Borealis, the return to the court of nightmares.
Hey.
The first point, Rhys, bow to me. Thoughts?
I thought that was really hot. They're walking in. There's one throne, and he puts Feyre on the throne, and he sits on the arm. And he tells them to bow, and I was like, okay, I shall. I shall be doing that.
Done.
I will bow to Rhys. Yet again, I think Sarah J. Maas does a beautiful job with describing their clothes. Their clothes,
Those slutty Court of Nightmares outfits.
I know. It's so good in this one. They just... Court of Nightmares. We get it.
I have a theory about this.
Oh.
Because there are several times that we allude to Rhys's like mystery dressmaker.
Ooh. Yeah.
Oh, you think it's Alice?
I think it's Rhys.
You think Rhys is what? He's just chilling, sewing some stuff.
Yeah. That would be so magical.
I think
That's
so.
really cute.
And I think he's embarrassed, so he wouldn't tell anybody
He is a
about
fashion
it.
king.
But like,
Yeah.
more
A corset.
always is like, where did you get that?
So true. And he never tells
He's
her.
always like everything when Feyre describes his fits and like it's like perfectly tailored, like perfectly like. I think he does.
He's hot. He knows
Rhys
it.
does his own shit.
That would make me so happy.
Yeah, I think it's like a little like outlet that he has for himself. Maybe when he spent that time in the library when he first came back, he like did some learning about it. Or this is my
Him
fan
designing
theory.
clothes for Feyre is so hot.
Do you love him
so
even more
hot.
now?
I'm so happy.
I think it's a really good fan theory, right?
That's an
Are you ready
excellent
to
fan
jump
theory.
on board with me?
I'm into it.
Fully on board because that would be the most. That would round him out really beautifully too.
I know.
He is.
He
Tinder,
does need
we
like
know
a
this.
creative outlet, I think.
Yeah.
Well, and like that would be a beautiful tenderness to him. That would bring a lot of joy.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
I'm on board. Thoughts on Eris?
Yeah, so in the Court of Nightmares, we get that big... Eris kind of shows his hand a little bit and talks about how like he's the one who protected Lucian, made sure he got out alive, dropped him at the summer court or the spring court for Tamlin to pick up, and was not involved in killing his girlfriend. So that's why I'm like, maybe Eris is like... Maybe he's more than he seems.
I appreciated that there was some grayness for a few characters where we were like, oh, I thought you were... Well, this came up with the mythical creatures, too, of just like, oh, y'all are actually not what we thought in the last book. This is interesting.
And we learned that he didn't actually want to marry more. And he said, like, I understood why you did what you did, but I knew what they were going to do to you, and there's nothing I could do about it. Like, I
don't know that he's wrong. I mean, maybe he could have stepped in, but
yeah. I think he
Probably
probably,
not,
I mean,
like-
they killed 2 of the other brothers. Like, I mean, it's not like his life was safe.
yeah, for sure.
This whole book is just nothing but with these characters, which is 75% of the book is character building, and then the battle. It's like this is insane, but I feel like so much of this is, hey, now we have more information, and things are not what you thought. That's just over and over.
Yeah.
Now here's more information.
Yeah.
It is not what you thought. Here's
SJM loves that. That was the whole first book.
Yeah.
Was like, you think we're creating this like magical fairy tale that takes the same structure that we always have in magical fairy tales, and then like
Surprise!
turns out
That's the turntables.
it's a turntable.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any thoughts on Eris beyond like, wow, that's not what I thought.
Yeah, I'm interested. I just want him to have his own book. And I can't remember which of the... I think one of the priestesses says, like, lords of the Autumn Court have fire in their blood and they fuck like it, too. I was like,
Oof.
I'd like to know more about that.
You're invested in
I was like,
learning more.
interesting. I took note.
I'd read more. I'd read more.
Yeah, I took note of that. And I'm just remembering that's a fact that has been shared.
Yeah, you're recalling that this could be interesting. Bryaxis. Is that how we say it? Mm-hmm. And the confrontation in the library. This library.
What does it look like in your brain?
I have the hardest time wrapping my mind around it. Okay, have we seen the movie where, is it Indiana Jones?
Harrison Ford.
Where there's like a pit. And there's like it goes all down. Like
that's exactly what I was picturing. I picture that it's like a Greek Colosseum, but it's like tall, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, but it's like
and the shelves the pit is in the middle, and the shelves are around the outside, and then that's what she's walking down, and it gets darker and darker and darker.
That's exactly what I picture.
That's what I thought.
Okay, that's good.
But there was some detail at some point that I was like, wait, are they not a circle then? Like,
because it couldn't have been linear. That's what I realized. Right. Because if it's linear,
it does describe her going through the stacks, like feeling through the stacks. It's not like it's one wall of books. Like there's hallways.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't lose if it was just like a spiral staircase situation. Like there would be no chase. Like they would just be behind you and they would catch up.
Right. Like she's weaving in and out of the stacks.
I think that the stacks are like I think the ends of the stacks are on the hallway. Like it's like the books, you're not actually looking at the spines of the books as you're running down the spiral.
Oh, you go into the wall.
Like,
it's deep. It's deeper on the edges.
Like the pit is in the center.
Yeah, like at the grocery store. Like imagine just taking a grocery store
and like wrapping it.
Like wrapping it into a circle.
Okay, that makes sense.
You've got kind of lines coming
like a wagon wheel.
Yeah,
something like that. Like a wagon wheel.
Yeah. Any way you feel, really.
Elaine. So the moment, I think we were talking about this, the moment Elaine started speaking in riddles, I was like, she's a seer. She's prophesying.
She's a prophetess.
Abundantly clear. Twin
y'all
ravens,
are all stupid.
This is going to happen. But like Nesta and Pharaoh look at each other and they're like, she's gone mad.
She's crazy.
No.
You don't say twin ravens, one white, one black without me. Come on. I saw young hands wither with age. Bitch.
This means something.
No.
Ask her what.
For people who have been around, it's like Reese is 500 years old, and he's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Come on, sir.
Come on.
You've been kicking for 500 years.
You know.
I've read a couple of fantasy books, and I know what's going on, sir.
Seriously, you just need to read one. You're like, oh, this person can see the future. Makes sense.
Yeah, great. That was entertaining.
Bryaxis, he wants a friend. He wants a window when he wants a friend.
Him wanting a window also really fucked me up. I was like,
I just want to be able to look at the sky.
But he didn't want to go out.
Like, he's like, I need a skylight.
I've become comfortable
can you put
with
in
my
a cute little skylight for my home?
I just need some.
I
need a friend.
I live here. I need just a little skylight just to brighten up the place.
Oh my god.
He's just doing his interior designing.
He's some company.
As someone who has been in an office without a window for about 6 months now, I really relate strongly. Can't do it.
100%.
I'm a sensitive baby. I have to have a window.
There are 2 offices in the counseling suite that have windows, and mine is one of them. And I had to move offices one day because they were waxing, and I had to come apart. I could not work.
It's weird.
I could not be in an office with no window. I was going to die.
Well, and people have to do it. And like, I imagine if like it was very much to my advantage in all other ways to work without a window, I could make it worth it. But I feel like if there's an option to not, I can't. So yes, I completely identify with the Bryaxis here.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I thought it was really. I did get spooked when Reese was telling the story of Cassian, like on a dare going down there, and then like threatening to like tie Reese to a tree or something, so he couldn't
on a dare.
But I was like, what did he see? And I'm still not. I don't really get. I don't know.
I don't.
Like, what
they
happens?
Didn't let him. They didn't
why
let
can't
them
you look at him? And if Cassian did look at him, how did he like what?
So Cassian.
I think he's scary. I think they had to protect.
Okay.
So Cassius has seen Bryaxis, like he has looked at him.
Okay.
So Feyre closes her eyes. What kills you?
No,
it just is very scary.
So I think
my
impression,
not like the mirror where that killed everybody when they're confronted with what they looked like.
Yeah, my impression of Bryaxis is that he embodies the idea of like terror. So like I don't think it's
like a drum on Harry Potter.
Oh,
float about.
A Dementor?
Dementor.
Oh, I was thinking like a Boggart, the thing that comes out like that's you're most scared of.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then exactly like a Boggart.
Yeah. So I don't know if it like
there is a character that
perfect.
I don't know if he changes form, but I think when you look at him, you feel like terror. Like it's not like he looks like anything. It's just like shit, like something is horrible. Something horrible.
But then does he actually kill you, or does he just like to feed off of your fear?
I think he kills you, but he eats away at you.
But he seemed so sweet.
He did seem sweet.
He did it to protect Farrah. He was like, I'm gonna eat these people now.
Everybody's protecting Farrah.
He told Farrah, close your eyes. I'm gonna go take care of
your eyes.
That was cute. The way that everything comes out to protect Farrah is
the surreal.
And then Reese shows up and he finishes the job, which I also liked.
You appreciated that.
He said, I wanted to feel them die.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Hybern's a problem. Yes. Okay. Elaine and Lucian. I like that. That's just a subject here.
Mm-hmm. So yes,
we're here to discuss Elaine and Lucian now. So Lucian, I think, like went into this with like he feels the mating bond. Like he I guess it hasn't snapped into place or something, but like he's like, this is my mate. Like he feels an allegiance to her.
Well, it snapped for him, but not for. It's same thing like with Reese and Feyre. Like it didn't snap for Feyre until like. Yeah, I think there's a description of like it's an invisible string, like a golden tie between that you feel. Like
oh my god, an invisible rope.
Yeah, invisible rope.
Which is the incorrect title, but yes, okay. So Lucian, he feels that then, and then he goes in and like tries to figure out what's going on for Elaine.
And I really loved, because this is from Feyre's point of view. We don't always know what other people's intentions are. And so it was really clever for SJM to use Feyre, her Daemati power, to go into his mind so we could get his perspective.
I
loved that because
so smart.
Because she really doesn't, except for the last chapter of this book, she really doesn't switch perspectives, which it would be utter chaos if she did that. I'm so glad she doesn't. There are too many characters to do that. But the Daemati powers were a fun way to go in because I'm invested in Lucian. I don't know what it is, but I'm like, I love his like story arc. Yeah. And so to see it through Lucian's eyes and like to feel what he was feeling.
And it's like, it's not predatory what he's feeling. It's like
tender.
This thing, I have to protect this. Like she's this one's mine now.
And the turntable, she's pretty mighty. But yeah, at the time she was really vulnerable and not okay.
Yeah.
That the whole breakup for her was fucking heartbreaking.
God, Grayson, that piece of
I know he's a piece of shit, but he didn't deserve her.
She was like, I will kill you.
Nesta's always hated him. That's everything.
I just want to know so much more about Nesta.
I love her.
Like I think she is such a such a deep well, and I'm just like, I don't know you at all.
I know,
and I want to so badly.
And so there already is a book on her. Okay, good.
Is there? That's the next one, Silver Flames.
Okay, good.
It's weird though. It is about Nesta, but it's not in first person. It's third person.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we don't like Feyre's there, but we learn about her tangentially through Nesta's like perspective. But it's
third person from Nesta's perspective. Interesting. Okay.
Well, good. I guess I just said I wanted to know more about her.
Yeah. And I guess I will. Yes. Yeah. Okay, then you have here thoughts on Elysian versus El Real. El Real was a Mexican restaurant in Savannah, Georgia. But
so
shout out.
This is a big controversy in the ACOWAR universe because there are people who are diehard Elaine and Azriel, like want them to end up together.
I see it, especially after
people will die by that.
The exchange of Truth Teller, and Reese was like, he has never let anybody else touch that sword.
Okay, I see your point.
That was hot.
I see your point. And I think that Azriel and Elaine are both, as an air sign, as a floaty abouty, as who
Elaine
I
is
am.
Absolutely an air sign.
Elaine, I get
she's
Elaine.
She's out there. Absolutely.
There's not a grounded bone in her body. And she's really, I in some ways, I hear about Elaine and I'm like, oh no. There's a reason.
I hear the earthworms wriggling in the ground.
Okay. I'm so sorry. All of you. It's me. But I'm only a Libra rising. It's fake. I'm not actually. That's to protect my actual complete airiness. But I think so. Notice I am not. This is just my hot take. I'm not into sad boys because I need someone who is more grounded and more present and who balances me out better. I do not feel that Elaine, as Elaine is, would I mean, sure, that'd be cute, but I don't know that they would be happy.
This was similar
That's too much
to
of the same energy.
Yeah, KTB and I talked about this a little at dinner on Friday night, and I felt very similarly of like, I think that could be fun. Asriel and
it would be
Elaine,
hot
for sure. The vibes are great.
That's like who you date for a while
It's
and
a
then
fuck,
get your
marry,
heart broken.
kill, maybe. Like fuck
marry, kill.
Asriel for sure, but maybe marry Lucian.
That would actually be a partnership where y'all could succeed.
And I think she would have some healing and some, but she and Asriel are kind of very similar, like very like kind of withdrawn into themselves because of their experiences.
Yes, they've both been through a lot. They're both very much in their head. Very, what is it? Ethereal. That's not the word. It's like esoteric. Just kind of like lots of thoughts and feelings about it all. Just kind of floating around. And I think people who ship them are not that kind of person. I, as unfortunately that kind of person, see that and I'm like, oh no, I know that would be a nightmare. I would hate to partner with someone who was similar to me in that way. Yeah. I don't even think I have friends who are similar to me in that way because we just would never get anything done.
Yeah, I am strictly anti Elaine and Asriel.
Okay, really?
I hate it. I think Asriel, well, first of all, I'm not the biggest fan of Elaine. I think she's fine.
You're a fan of me.
I am a fan of you.
Thank goodness.
But
we do spend a lot of time together.
I mean, you have your shit together way more than Elaine does.
Okay, well, that's the therapy.
Yeah, but
I bet if Elaine went to therapy,
you think that would
be feeling better?
Yeah,
maybe.
I love when the doctor came and was like, "This is y'all's problem." She's fine. She
said, "Y'all figure this out on your own. I don't know what the fuck this
Try
is."
sitting next to her and see what happens.
Yeah. She washed her hands of the situation. Can relate, honestly. My poor therapist. But so in the dramatization, you were saying you hate how she.
So in the graphic audio, the voice actress, she does a good job but she does make Elaine sound like the biggest airhead there ever was.
Okay.
It's just like
very
like, oh, will I hear the earthworms wriggling in the ground?
What will happen?
Asriel is very like, let me take you to the garden, crazy lady.
Okay, I kind of like that. Yeah, it's a fuck, marry, kill.
I personally just want Asriel to be with a wacky, zany, goofy little weirdo.
Exactly. So he needs
someone fun.
He needs a goofy girl.
I think we intuitively understand partnerships and pairings of how it is really meaningful to have someone. The fuck, marry, kill of it all, right? Like it's. Some folks it's fun to fuck around with, but like if you're gonna partner and have a life together, you need
balance.
You need a little balance.
Yeah. And I just want Lucian to be happy. I think he's been through a lot of shit, and I think he deserves to be with his mate.
Yeah.
And I think Elaine, she feels the pull of the bond. I think she does.
She does.
I think she's freaked out by it because she's freaked out by everything right now. But her evolution and how she like at the end when Lucian comes back and she's like happy to sit.
And she hugs him. One of my favorite parts was when Elaine, this is jumping around to touch, but it's jumping around to the last chapters of the book. But whenever she, at the battle, she was like, at first she was throwing up with horror and trauma and all of that. She was just vomiting everywhere. And I'm like, that's valid.
That's
100%.
Favorite in response to anything is throwing up.
Yeah. Everybody throwing up.
I get it.
Dear God.
But then, build some constitution, ladies.
Then Elaine comes in and rains hellfire down on the situation.
I wasn't sure
beheads. Beheads the king.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right.
Well, she like
into her
stabbed
power
him through the back of the neck, and then Nesta came in to like wriggle it
Nesta
around.
Finished the job.
I think
I
so.
fucking
Right?
love that bitch.
The sister power.
Oh God. So satisfying.
The tears. I do not have a biological sister, and the tears at the sisterhood. Of it all. Wow. Okay. Sorry, jumping around. There's so much between that.
Different, but they were like on the level at that. I having read so many pages of these now. Like for example, I wasn't that fucked up about the big bad because I was like, well, he's gonna come back.
You were okay.
But that was because I accidentally started reading Sparkle and Starlight, and I was like,
Shimmer Shine.
Frost and Starlight.
Okay,
Shimmer Shine.
Okay.
So I knew, but also whenever we're having any catastrophe, even at the beginning, like on the journey back to the night court when they were in the ice, like I do get worked up in the suspense, but like a part of me always knows, like, well, they're gonna survive because this series is continuing.
I'm so traumatized by like all the other books I've read in my life where like no one is safe. I think Finnick dying really fucked me up. I was like, they can really take away people that you love.
Yeah, I think that really does.
Or like Fred dying in Harry Potter. It's like, why the fuck would you separate the twins? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Super brutal. That's true.
Yeah,
see, that was the first clue that J.K. Rowling was a bad person.
We should have known.
Why would you do that?
Don't do that. Not the twins.
Kill literally anyone else.
And several of the other Weasley brothers could have been.
Literally, get him out of here.
Please, actually. Fascinating. Yeah, I had feelings. Our next point, the first battle. The sub point here is fucking in the tent with 6 question marks.
I had so many concerns about that.
Move fast and keep quiet, baby.
Move fast and keep quiet. Look, keep quiet. The description was beautiful. It's like, I'm going to worship him with my hands and my mouth, my body. Oh, I love that.
Gorgeous.
I hated the fact that they were like, and the shield drowned out the sounds of the dying around us. It's like, okay, well.
So, that was a little weird. However,
I did not need that part.
So what I landed on with that, it was that this was what she was trying to do, what SJM was trying to do, this, like, how I interpreted it anyway, was this idea of death and life, like what is worth living for, and love and war. It was love and war.
Yeah. It was all is fair.
Exactly. So but in the midst of, myself, I couldn't fuck with the sounds of war all around me. But maybe I could. I don't know. Maybe it would bring out my more carnal, I want to feel alive here.
I think I have to say, certainly, like the sounds of death around the tent. That's a bummer. That's not a good setup for.
It's not an ideal
for having sex, for sure.
Sexual moment.
And even so, there is something to be said about a public moment.
I love
for those of us who enjoy that.
I love public sex.
So I think it still has that sneaky element of like, is someone gonna walk in? Like, it's.
I also. This is just like
it's hot. Is what you're trying to say.
It's kind of hot.
Well, I'm not saying it wasn't hot, but I also am thinking about like
it's with Reese. You're not saying it's not hot.
Oh, it was absolutely hot. But I'm also thinking about the fact that he put a shield around the tent.
Okay.
And like having to attend to holding up a shield while also having sex. That sounds hard.
Pretty much. I think he's good. I think he's pretty good. He's got a
wealth of. It's true. He's very powerful.
He's pretty powerful. I think
he's used to multitasking with that shit.
Yeah,
that's a background program.
He's the most powerful
that's not
High Lord. I think. I mean, if he can shut Tampon up,
why?
Oh my God, that was hot.
Why is he the most power? I forgot about that too until the High Lord meeting, and Feyre was like, "I forgot," and I was like, "Bitch, I forgot." Like, why is he?
Oh, I done been knowing it.
What's the difference?
Done been knowing it.
What's the difference?
He just has his wealth of power is just so much bigger.
You gestured to your privates.
You sure did.
I don't
it's time to reveal who actually has the biggest wingspan.
We've heard it's Azriel. Well, Feyre now too, because she modeled her wings after Azriel's.
Ooh, okay. The feminism.
Also, I know it was not supposed to be hot, but when Azriel was touching her wings, I was like, oh my God.
I know. But it was
so
hot.
intimate.
Like, oh my God, touch my wing, Shadow Daddy.
The only thing that V and E have gleaned from my obsession with this series is like, was there some wing play? I'm like, y'all need to leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, if they read, they would understand. It actually
it's pretty hot. If you possess a female body, if you've got female genitalia, you understand what wing play is about.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because we understand the amount of erogenous
oh my God.
Everything
on a female body.
So like the idea of there being an additional erogenous zone is one, extremely hot. to
And
like
something I can exactly picture. Like
we can picture because you touch my neck right and I'm a goner. Like it just
Please.
it's a mash. Like I'm being a
one
woman.
touch of an earlobe, I get goosebumps like all over my body.
Yeah.
Like,
I read about you touching my earlobe. And, so it's so fun. I saw a TikTok that so V and E can just shut up until they read. We love y'all both
I need
so
them also
much.
to let go of it because I'm afraid that's gonna give them spoilers if they're thinking about it
It's
too
True, if you
hard.
think too hard about wing play, you're like, oh, then
Wait a
she's
minute.
not hanging out with people in the spring court anymore.
Hold on.
Because there's no
that's
wings in
true.
the spring
I
court.
know, so I've been trying to downplay it to
They're
them,
not
like,
gonna-
y'all don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I do. Look, I love anytime there's spice. I love it.
Yeah.
I will say because there are so few right holes in this book, I was like, why does one of them have to be during war?
That's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because like
I
there's
think it was making a point.
It was a short one, too. It was not a very...
and it was not descriptive.
No,
Also,
not a very
it faded
descriptive
to
scene.
black.
This is
Yeah.
also from the girlie who doesn't like sex in public. But wingspan. So in Barnes and Noble there was this TikTok and it had. Did you see this same one? Too?
I love Barnes and Noble.
Oh my god! Well, yes, we the second podcast in a row we've been talking about Barnes and Noble, but there was this TikTok of like a stack of ACOWAR SJM books of all different kinds, and then right next to it was Flappy Bird's Wingspan, the game, and it said they have to know what they're doing with this. It was like 2 display tables.
Oh
That's
my
hilarious.
God,
It's
that's
like Wingspan.
hysterical.
There were no other games. It was like a display, and it was like
ACOWAR and Wingspan. Oh,
it was
that's good.
ACOWAR and Wingspan.
Someone did that.
Yes,
Some little sweet
some
girlie
little
who
girlie was
works
like,
there was
There was a 20-year-old in an apron who was doing that.
Yeah, it was like
and honestly, good for her.
Yeah.
How satisfying.
Yes.
To just be like...
a little coy moment
So
there.
coy.
It was cute. It was
Ooh.
cute.
That is super fucking cute.
Yeah, so mixed feelings on fucking in the tents, but you know, be that as it may.
Whatever.
The meeting of the High
God,
Lord.
my favorite part
The
of this book.
tension.
I could relate so strongly to the complication of planning this fucking meeting.
Ew.
This
Okay.
the sheer amount of planning. One, arduous planning.
Moving the date 100
Communication.
times.
The fucking date was moved 100 times. The animosity about who will be. I'm not gonna be there. Fucking blah, 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 blah. What if where do we sit? What do we
It's
wear?
coming down to the seating arrangements, honestly.
I'm not
Get
gonna go
out.
up. It's gonna be at this place. As someone who has had to herd the cats of people and plan things, and planning is not a strength of mine. It is something I have to do. It was so relatable. Just how. Like, we learned that they were all going to meet, like, in the first third of the fucking book.
Yeah.
It did not happen until
It takes
over
about
halfway
it
through.
takes about 500 pages to get
to get to the
this
meeting.
Yep.
part of the book that is so special to me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's cover why it was so special.
I just like it. But I did like the beginning of this scene. Reese says to Feyre, "You bow to no one." I remember when my partner was reading this book, he was listening to it actually, and he was listening to it in the car when we were together. And I had already read it, and it was leading up to this scene where they were going to the meeting of the High Lords, and we pulled in the garage, and I was like, "Wait, keep it playing just until the end of this,
Together.
until the end of this chapter, okay?" And he said, "Okay." And it got to that line where it was like, "You bow to no one," and I was like, and he just looked at me like, "Okay."
No, you don't
I was
understand.
like,
Come on.
"You know better than that."
Ooh.
So over there, very excited. He
It's
was like,
so hot, especially because Reese does bow to her.
he sure does.
Oh, so hot. So good.
Oh my God.
So good. I
It's
know.
so good.
Yeah, the tensions were high.
I definitely had some emoting when Tamlin strolled in late. I was really stressed about that.
That was
I just did not think that he was going to show up, and so then when he did, I
That's
was
why he showed up late.
pissed about it.
It was a power
I'm
play.
just being dramatic.
Yeah.
So
Stupid.
dramatic.
Oh, real quick before we very much focus on Tampon, I loved their outfits. Again, I
So
love their
good.
outfits. One of my favorite moments was
Reese has
when
his wings out.
Feyre, yes, was when Feyre walked out looking beautiful and whatever. And then who didn't know how to compliment her?
It was
Cassian.
Cassian.
He was like, "You look different. You look," and then Amor was like, stop.
You're
being
the word you're
weird.
looking for is beautiful.
Just tell her she looks beautiful. Quit fucking around. God, it's not hard.
And Reese let her pick out a crown.
Yes, all the jewels. He said, "These are my family jewels."
He's sure. That's exactly what he said.
He literally said, "These are my family jewels," like with a wry look in his eye or whatever. And I was weeding the garden at that point. And I was like,
yeah. And he was like, "Hey, you want to sell them? You can sell them. That's fine. But can you just spare like the ones that I like them?"
Yeah. So she got to pick out her.
She got her crown.
That was really special. She looks beautiful. People didn't even know what to do about it. But Azrael, you have a note here. You have to share.
I just love Azrael so much.
Yeah.
Well, Tamlin, he's just saying the most horrible things. I remember when I was reading this book, I have a vivid memory of in my mind. I'm sitting up in bed, crisscross applesauce, reading this book. And then when Tamlin said, "Have you ever noticed that little noise she makes before she comes?"
Oh my God. That was aggressive.
I put my face in my book and screamed. I was like, yeah. Why would you say that?
Why?
Well, we know exactly why.
For the power play of it all.
It's a power play.
And then it's not Reese who talks.
No, it's not.
Be careful how you speak about my high lady.
Yes.
From Azrael, my boy.
Azrael, yes.
That was the moment I was like, where did you come from? Oh, I
Yeah. It was.
Yep.
She was the rage, just kind of, and compared to other times, can't think of specific times, but compared to other times that Feyre met with people in power, compared to this time, this was a real, like, she knew her power. She knew who she was. She knew she was an equal in the space.
Mm-hmm. Even if they didn't want to treat her like that. Like when she refused to bow and they were all like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, there was some real feminist themes in here where the wife of one of the High Lords, Moore's friend,
Vivian,
and they squealed.
Yes,
They're like, oh my God.
Yeah, and she was like, I want to be High Lady.
She was like, wait, Feyre's High Lady?
I want to be High Lady.
That was so good.
Yeah, I like Vivian. She's cool.
Yeah, and then some asshole at some point said, we only invited the partners as a courtesy. The women as a courtesy.
And
Vivian's
like, oh, no, you didn't.
Actually.
I thought that there were some clear women loving women vibes going on between Moore and Vivian. Also, loved that.
Mm-hmm.
I want so much more of that. I loved all the lots of queer High Lords. Some in varying levels of like closeted, some less so.
That Moore really, we'll get to it, I'm sure, but Moore really addressed the
Moore's
whole
coming out was really important.
Yes.
And then the other one that started with a T, not Tarquin. What's his name?
Thiessen.
That was hosting. That was the day.
He's not Dave.
Dawn.
And then
he's got a boyfriend.
His boyfriend was his like high commander or whoever, right?
Oh, that's hot.
There was a lot more like queer inclusion that I really appreciated and even the complication too of like if they wanted to produce an heir, how like there was this like it's frowned upon, like that the discrimination was really specific and interesting of like, oh well, that creates a lot of tension,
right?
Yeah,
it was really to do with like the social structures of the courts, I guess. Yeah. Ultimately, like we must continue the bloodline or whatever.
Yeah, it's like it's like some courts are more conservative than others. Like the Supreme Court is like, this is tradition. This is like traditional family values and like
Moore's
very
family.
Republican area. And then like there are other courts where it's like, nah, like we're all equal. Like
we wear whatever, we do whatever. Yeah, very egalitarian.
That's so interesting because in a straw, it just makes me think of like I think of spring as a very like mutable time, right? Like spring is all about like new beginnings and like progression and moving forward and like coming out of something and into something else. It's like a real transition. Ooh. And so,
but not so.
Yeah, so to be paired politically with this very like traditional like stagnant, like it's no wonder maybe that the court collapsed because like that's not springtime. Like there's some tension between like Tamlin's kind of running this in a way that is maybe counter to like I don't know, like all the courts are magical. Like they have their own personalities almost. Like the courts kind of seem like entities.
But isn't that what trauma does? It takes us away from our core self. It changes us away from who we're meant to be.
That's right.
Our truest selves, how we're actually wired. It fucks it up. It rearranges it, and it's we have to heal to get back to our true self, our true nature. It sounds like the Spring Court wasn't always that way. I mean, they have a whole festival about fucking.
Good point.
But it's an interesting...
And I think that is consistent with Farrah's take on it the whole time. Yeah. Like, her kind of ultimate closure with Tamlin is like, I hope one day he works out all this shit. Yeah. I hope one day that he, like, faces his trauma and his past and, like, does the work of healing.
The other courts have trauma, too, though.
That point.
Other courts have trauma, but they, you know what, they take different responsibility for it now, don't they? Yes, this was what note do you have here? Why serve in my court when you can rule on his?
Yeah, so Tamlin, when Farrah reveals, or when someone refers to Farrah as High Lady, it clicks for Tamlin like, oh, you're High Lady of the Night Court now. And
I'm pretty sure it was when Azriel said, watch.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, so why would you serve in my court when you can rule in his? That's the fucking point.
Correct.
I wrote here, Tamlin ran face first since the goddamn point and still didn't get it.
Yep.
Like, that is straight white man out the, like...
100%.
You ran into the point. Yes, why would she serve in your court when she can rule beside Rhys? Why would she do that?
Why wouldn't she?
And her powers, like, it would be such a horrible waste in this war, especially. It would be such a like, we need women.
Yeah, but not all, like, definitely a waste, but also, like, painful. Like, Tamlin is home to these powers as well, so he knows that trying to suppress them, that doesn't work. Like, it's physically incompatible.
Like, it is painful to repress who you really are.
And it's not effective. Like, all of us talk to our clients about that. And like, the thing about feelings is that they're just chemicals. They live in your body. They're going to do what they do.
You
can either work with that and move through it, or you can pretend it's not happening, and then it's going to take over your whole life.
Explode.
Yeah.
Like,
it goes poorly for everyone. Especially the person carrying it. Yeah. But he's consistent in that. Then you said that misogynistic piece of absolute garbage. That's a great point.
That was another point that I needed to make.
Really a great point.
It's true.
Whenever your next point, Farrah did doing a good protect of Rhys. What asshole was saying stuff about Rhys being Amarantha's whore?
It was Baron.
Unnecessary. Baron. Of course it was Baron.
And
that was so ugly.
And I just love that. She exploded. And she was like, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do it right fucking now.
And Rhys loved it too immediately after he was like, hey, it was pretty hot that you did that.
I enjoyed.
He was like, that was pretty hot. Also, is it for the greater good that you continue to do that?
He was like, hey, don't kill him now, because then Eris is going to become High Lord. And she was like, well, then I'll kill him too. I'm going to kill them all. I'll do it all. And he was like,
he knew better than to try to talk her down from it.
He was like, well, that would be an interesting experiment, but let's.
It was so good.
I love it.
Yeah, that was good times.
I love that. Like, that was when everyone got to see, like, oh shit, she is really powerful. If she can hold Baron and almost kill him without really doing anything, like,
oh, speaking of that, we skipped right over how Rhys made Tamlin
that was
fish
satisfying.
Fish out of water it. I was just so cackling.
And then everybody forgot that he was pretty powerful.
Everyone just realized, oh no, and now I remember who we're sitting with.
Hold on.
And it wasn't even effortful.
He
was just like
hands in his pockets, leaning back in his chair.
Because he doesn't abuse that power. It's like he doesn't make a big deal about how
he always has a deep well because he's not using that power.
He's not using it all. Well, and he rules like this with his subjects. It's very egalitarian, and he's a man of the people, a male of the people. But he does this also with the other High Lords. There's a real, like, egalitarian, like, he is more powerful, but he is not taking advantage of that in an unfair way.
I think he does a really good job of, like, I will still remind everybody.
I'm just gonna remind
again,
you,
just real quick.
I'll take away his power well.
Well, to everyone's relief, because people were, like, losing interest. They're like, this is a lover's quarrel. Stop.
Yeah. Nobody, you're only just pissing off the wrong people to piss off. Like, it's just only, this is not working.
I think Tamlin just showed up with his own personal shit to, like,
because that's all he has space for. It's so like overwhelming his whole system that he can only think of the
well, he's focusing on the wrong holes too. Like there's literally holes in the fucking wall. Like like there are more pertinent things to be focusing on.
All you can think about is that like your girlfriend broke up with you. Okay, we're gonna have to move past that because people are dying.
She chose to but it really it's an interesting he's focusing on that. It's sad. We do kind of, I don't know. Tamlin comes in at the end and kind of helps.
I was irritated at how, I got a little weepy when Tamlin, stepped in to let them escape the camp with Elaine.
I think it helps his story arc.
Piece of shit. I hate you so much, but, that was above board.
Yeah,
and
thank you for coming around and not being an asshole.
Breeze came to, help her finally fly. I was like, God damn it.
You know what I don't need? I do not need a Tamlin redemption arc. I don't give a fuck.
Okay, you're not invested in a Tamlin redemption arc.
Whatever. If he gets one, that's fine.
I don't like a second chance. I'm not. He had.
I think what I want is for him to stop. Well, because he's in a position of power, and his bullshittery is influencing others' wellness and others' lives. And so it's I want him to be okay for him and be away. Kind of like Tarquin. When Tarquin was like, you know what? I don't need these blood rubies. I'm good. We don't have to fight anymore. I'm going to set this aside. It's I want you just can we tie up this loose end?
And I don't want to hear about it anymore.
That's from a plot point standpoint.
Y'all, you go do whatever you need to do in the Supreme Court. And I don't want to hear about the Supreme Court ever again.
Because she's made it I don't want a second chance for him. I don't want him integrated. I do want the loose end of it tied up.
I see that.
Of he's come around to hey, no, I'm going to fight with us all against Hybern.
And I think we have a setup for that because the Supreme Court is in shambles.
Yeah.
If he really did want a redemption arc, it would be go tend to yourself.
Yes.
Keep your side of the street clean. Work on your shit for a little minute.
Stop taxing your people.
Jesus Christ.
I know. Even during all this shit with Hybern infiltrating his court,
he was only 20% of my people showed up to pay the tithe.
You're enforcing a tithe during a war? During wartime?
No.
You're enforcing a tithe? What the fuck is going on?
Absolutely not. And they're the closest to the to the human realm.
Yeah, when Lucian was only part of the people showed up, it's then why are you doing that to your people? They're suffering. They've got enemies in your lands. Why are you doing that?
Well, it's the trauma of it all. He's a weird character. It's gotten weird. It's gotten weird with Tamlin. Sweet little tampon. Okay, the big reveal of Lucian's biological dad.
His bio dad.
I know. This was...
I like that Feyre figured it out, and then Race was whatever you just figured out, stop looking so shocked by it. You
need to fix your face, bitch. Fix your face.
And I love that he was I'm mad that I didn't think of this.
He's
so obvious.
That.
You know what? Lucian does have darker skin. It's Lucian is multiracial. Interesting.
It's as if he's got the same jaw. Fascinating. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Helion. Helium
is similar. Helion, pansexual king.
Yes, yep. I loved also
a poly king.
Poly, yes. Yeah. So there was some multiples. That was some inclusion. We loved
He wanted to get Azrael, Cassian, and Moore all
three of them.
Yes,
oh my God. The audacity.
Oh.
I appreciated that. I for sure did.
He wanted to get all of them,
bringing
just
this
all
up
in his
party.
Space.
He's ready.
I liked the castle that they were all in. Mm-hmm. That sounded luxurious. She's I don't know if I want to fuck in the same place with Tamlin.
Reese was we're not going to do that.
A consent king.
Absolutely.
And then I think it was really hot when Reese was I think you would like having two men worship you.
I know! I
sure
love that too.
Yes, indeed.
It was the inclusion of it all. It was hey, I'm open to, let's celebrate. I'm secure.
Well, he was oh, you like that, do you, favorite darling?
Interesting.
Ooh, that was hot. That was funny.
I know. He was hey, if you're interested in that, let's try it.
You had my attention there.
I know. I was I'm interested in that. If you just want to try it real quick.
Could y'all actually give that a whirl at some point? Wow. Yes. Okay, the big reveal of double agent Jurian. That was interesting.
I was so skeptical.
I was really skeptical too.
I was what's going on?
But they kind of laid the groundwork for it because everybody was very unpleasant I think we had heard about, like, he was friends with some of these people and was, like, very much on the same team. So then to hear him in the reveal talk about how crazy it was to have existed as, like, an eyeball and a finger or whatever for however long. And then he's like, wait, all of my friends are pissed at me. And I was like, oh yeah, I bet that would suck. I bet that would be pretty jarring, actually.
Yeah. When you think back to him in the spring court, he was like, it's interesting that the Reese that I knew never hurt anybody, Farrah.
He knew. Yeah. I kind of forgot that happened because then Durian just disappeared for so long, but I was like, oh no, he's got the drop on us. Like, he's gonna really fuck up some shit here.
He could see that, wait a minute.
But that's because they were actually friends. Yeah. Like, only someone who was really close to Reese would be able to know that about his character, I think, because he had been putting his mask on for so long or whatever.
And Helion and Reese had been, like, Helion was pretending to be an asshole during the meeting.
I loved that. When he came into the suite afterwards,
he's like, I was like, just chilling. He's like, what's up? Sorry, I was a dick earlier.
Actually, Helion's pretty great.
Yeah.
Like,
he and Reese have, like, similar energy.
He and Lucian have a similar energy. I feel like, dad and son.
I'm also do you think Lucian has Daycourt powers?
See, that's what I need more information. I'm invested.
Rather quickly.
I'm invested. I did love when she was talking, when they were describing all the folks from the different solar courts and, like, how they presented as, like, the ice and the heat.
I liked I could read about that for a long time.
All the fan art of Helion has him depicted as, like, a very, like, dark-skinned man with, like, long, beautiful dreads and, like, gold in his hair.
Nice.
It's really hot.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
Well, the melanin of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, the decor, like, sun.
Sure.
Ooh, cool.
I like it. I wonder... That's going to get messy. Like, who...
I'm very worried about Lucian's mom.
She's
already abuses her.
Yeah.
He already abuses her all the time.
Like, I could do a whole book on just, like, let's set this right. Let's fix this. This is dysfunctional.
Or is Reese gonna talk to Helion about it because they're friends, or is Farrah gonna talk to Lucian about it because they're like, how are we gonna...
A good point.
I want to read so much more about that.
You know, it's a good book when... It's not that there are plot holes that are, like, left unaddressed, but it is, like, I want more information. I'm interested.
Yeah.
There are loose threads because it's a series, but it's also like, oh, no, you've piqued my interest. I want another book on this. This is interest. Like, you're doing it well.
Yeah.
You're doing it well. You're doing series well if we're invested at that point.
I think that's right. I think it's really fun to read... I was reading a different book last week, but it's not a series yet, but you can just tell when something is written with, like, the possibility of adding on more, like, additions to it.
Especially if you love it.
Yeah. That's just, like, a fun way to read. And I think previously, before... deep diving into this genre, I would be more like, well, why did you even introduce these people if you're not going to, like, tell me what happened to them?
Yeah.
But now I'm seeing, like, oh, that's because you want a spin-off. Like, you're just, like, leaving these little windows open for...
It's cool. Well, but sometimes windows are left open and I'm like, you're just trying to make a sequel. But I love when it's like, oh, no... Can you please write about specifically this? I want this.
Well, it gives you just enough, like, backstory and information, or it's like, okay, so this guy is Lucian's dad, but he's not the dad of all the other brothers.
It's like, I need so much more. To know. Well, and to her credit, I mean, this is an empire at this point, SJM, like, oh my God. But to her credit, to like, at this point, with this much information, this many characters, for us to still want more,
pretty wild.
It's 2,000 pages.
This is too much.
Yeah,
but we're like, give us more.
It's true.
That's kind of some witchcraft that I'm into.
I'm starting to already have a little bit of angst of, like, we've only got one book left.
I know.
That's out. And
1.25 books left.
Well, that's why Throne of Glass.
Yeah. Well, Silver Flames came out pretty recently, didn't it? Like, it's going to be a while before we get a new one.
Wow. I think so. The next book that is supposed to come out in the universe is the third Crescent City book, so it's really is going to be a hot minute. However, Throne of Glass is like 13 books long, and there is no sex in it. So I will not be reading it.
God.
Whoa.
Thank God you told us that.
Yeah.
Because I can't
so good at the fairy porn.
Crescent City I own, which apparently does have spice in it. I haven't started reading it yet.
But
Okay, Crescent City
my friend Ashley, who's read them all, she was like, okay, if you want spice, read Crescent City. If you want like good story, read Throne of Glass. And I was like,
they say the story in Throne of Glass is better.
There's so many fucking books.
Yeah, there does reach a point. Y'all, I'm gonna plug Outlander till the day I die. That has sex and an incredible story. If we did that on the pod, that's a lot of books.
It is a lot of books.
Something about like landing in a series and knowing that I don't have to make any more choices for a while.
That's true.
There's something about that too.
It's so good.
Well, it's like finding a good show with so many seasons. It's like just the decision fatigue. Yeah. I can and I can fall in love with these characters. I can invest. I can get emotionally attached and not have my heart broken. I know, it's real. Speaking of our heartbreaking, R.I.P. the cereal. That was unexpected.
Everyone pour one out wherever you are for the cereal.
For sure.
I cried real tears.
Yeah.
Everyone did.
Like, he believed in her. The cereal. And, like, what is your name?
The cereal was Team Reese from the beginning.
Wow.
Stay with the High Lord.
Stay with the High Lord.
I told you to stay with the High Lord.
Listen to me, you idiot.
Dumb.
That was
big dumb.
That was like the plot twist that I didn't like. It tied up strings I didn't know I needed addressed, and that was really beautiful and heart-wrenching and so good. Also, more calling Feyre out on her shit for leaving the battle. She was like,
healthy conflict.
and then she said, I've never had a friend who cared enough about me and about our relationship to call me out on my shit like that.
So
Beautiful.
the same thing
So good.
happened with Cassian when they were training, and she said, "You're angry at me," and he was like, "Yeah, you left." And when you're Reese's mate, you're his, but when you're High Lady, you're ours.
So
you
good.
belong to me too.
Reese is gonna go easy on you because he's glad you're okay, but we're gonna call you out on this.
Yeah.
You can't just leave.
You can't.
What?
You matter.
That was chosen family shit. That was like, no.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
God, I love
we
Cassian.
love you. You can't just disappear.
Yep.
You wronged me. But like, let me tell. I've said it once. I've said it before. When you care about a relationship, you want to address that because you don't want resentment to build.
That's
like,
right.
You're gonna.
It's like, hey, you can't disappear on me like that. That is not.
But for people who you can't, like, who you don't see a future with, and like, then there's no reason to repair. Like, it's the people who I care about who I'm like, no, I really want to repair this rupture in some way. You know, like when my friends leave me in battle and I have to go battle alone.
What happens all the time.
That happens frequently. They go to mythical creatures and then they die. It's a lot. But it's that mean when people matter to you, you do something about it.
Yeah, I really appreciated that. And I thought that it was really tender too that like they left on a tough note, and then as soon as they saw each other again, Moore was like, the moment that y'all left, like I knew that I needed to tell you this like big truth about myself that I've been carrying around.
Rupture repair. It really was like because there was the rupture, and then there was the accountability. Yeah, there was the accountability and the hey, I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. You know, I won't do that again. And then because it was repaired, it was like, hey, we're even stronger now. And this isn't screaming, fighting, kissing in the rain type shit. This is like real. They wanted, there was a repair moment, and then Moore talked about, do we have that as a note where Moore comes out and shares all of that?
It's after the next one, but we can go back and forth.
Well, anyway, our queer queen, the Morrigan. Why do we call her the Morrigan?
She's a mythical creature.
She's a mythical creature.
No, she's not.
She's
not. She's Moore.
Yeah, no, he was.
What does she look like?
He was like the Morrigan is.
She's high fae.
A thing.
Yeah,
like
she's
in other like nerdy fantasy. That's what I'm saying. So many of these creatures, like Striga, like the Weaver, is not out of nowhere. That's
fae
Baba Yaga.
Yeah,
like,
she will introduce herself as like when she gets angry, she says, "I am the Morrigan," and it's like people are like,
wow,
which means nothing to me, but people are like, "Oh shit, the Morrigan is here."
It's a thing.
Wow, it's like saying I'm. Yeah, what's the one on Sesame Street that's like the big furry yak?
The Snuffleupagus.
It's like saying, hello, I'm a Snuffleupagus.
Yeah.
The Snuffleupagus.
That's right.
It's exactly the same.
It's exactly the same. And I'm gay.
I know. Y'all had so many like you're like, why doesn't she just get with both of Asriel and Cassian? It's like because she doesn't like men.
Yeah, you're like maybe she's not into.
She doesn't like dick.
Well, I did like how she there's a little gray in there too. If she's like, yeah, like I've been with men, like
she fucks Helion.
Like yes, and it's to blow off some steam and to be together, but like to have that companionship, but it's not. That's not, and then she describes it so beautifully. That's not where I feel companionship and connection, though. Like, I love women. Like, that's who I want to be with.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the way that she talked about, like, how protective she had felt about that part of herself and, like,
had to be.
Having been so violated in all other areas of her experience, like, to then be ready to share with Feyre, or, like, I think Amryn, like, people know. But there's something really powerful in like Amryn said at some point to Feyre, who was like bitching about this a little bit. Amryn was like, to be the Morrigan, like she's got some of her own truths that she needs to deal with.
Oh, nice.
And I think that's a really, like, you got to let people come to things in their own time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, also as a late bloomer queer person, it is a very resounding experience for me that, like, other people in my life, even tangentially, are like, yeah, obviously.
You got naked lady bodies all over you, honey.
Oh, well,
sorry, you're the most queer.
It's true.
Like, I didn't know.
But it's so much that you have to. And that's not anyone else's place to. Like, that's you and whatever it means to you, whenever it feels safe to explore.
Totally.
That's the right time.
Yeah.
And that's really powerful that you.
I love that everybody in Moore's life, like, gave her that space. And we're like, all right, bitch, well, we kind of see what's going on here. But take your time. Like, figure it out. You've had some crazy shit go on. Like,
so true.
And it's okay if you never want to talk to us about it. Like, that was every time Feyre tried to, like, I relate. I want to talk shit. Like, I want to gossip about stuff. Like, let's talk about it.
Tell me everything.
And every time that Feyre tried to, like, okay, but what the fuck about more? Every single body was like, we just let that, like, she's on her own journey.
Like, I mind my business.
Yep, I let it. Nope, that got nothing to. Yeah, beautiful.
I mean, they would give little snippets about others and different things because they're family, you know. They call each other brothers. Oh my god!
It also makes her story make so much more sense. Like, it's like, why would you put yourself through that horrible experience with Eris and, like, getting something nailed into your body?
Because she didn't want to be with a man.
I was going to be stuck married to this man my whole life, and if I was going to be happy, I would have to have all of these, like, side affairs,
secret
and then
women.
If people find out, they would kill me, and, like, so just, like, so many things for her to consider before revealing this part of herself to people.
It wasn't just like courageous of her. It was also essential for her wellness. Yeah. And, you know, I hope that we live to see a world in which people don't have to make that kind of choice. I know that we're not in a mythical land, but, like, that kind of, like, you know, having to make these tough calls, it shouldn't have to be that hard.
Well, I think as, like, she's the truth teller.
Yeah, well, I love that.
No, that's Azrael's sword.
No, I thought that was the truth bringer.
No, Azrael's
the truth teller.
Azrael's sword is the truth.
Some, like,
her power
subtitle.
is just truth.
Just truth. I wonder what that, like, she wasn't able to live inauthentically to some extent. Like, it's not within her, like, ability as this, like, mythical creature of, like, I can't live a lie because I won't be living. Like, I can't do that. And I think that
it's against my very nature to do this, and yet I have to keep this deceived. But my integrity, the truth of it all, I am truth.
Like, I can't not. And she could never have just been in a sham marriage. Like, it just wouldn't have worked.
She never was in a long-term relationship with a man. Like, she had slept with men, but that's all anyone knew. Yeah. Like, and so she never. It wasn't even a lie by omission. It was just like, I'm not addressing my sexuality and who I want to partner with.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, the different conservative levels of different courts is interesting.
I do want her to release Azrael from his pining. I think
Feyre said that too. She said that. She's like, it's killing me. Like, I want
she feels
Azrael.
Bad.
I know. I
think. I know you're an Azrael girly, but I think that to some extent it's doing something for Azrael to have the unrequited love.
That's a real
it's
safety.
Something to stew in.
It's like I think we've talked about this before. Like, there's some safety in, like, a long
a crush that you know that you'll never be with. What is that doing for you?
It's not threatening because you don't actually have to be vulnerable.
Thank you.
Like you can stay in this limbo and we're swayed by the will she, won't she, and it's very like
well,
exciting,
it's like staying in a miserable job in some ways because it's like, what does that do? What are you needing to confirm within you?
A long-term, long-distance, low commitment girlfriend.
Yes, long-term, low commitment girlfriend. Yeah, it's an interesting casual. Yeah, casual is the other part of that. We don't know a ton about Azrael. Like they've both been with other people, but it does. At some point, it's like, well, bud. Yeah, it is sad. But she's clearly not into you. And I do love a will they, won't they. And I love the angst of it all. But also, like, it would be the more mature thing for him to, even if more never came out to him. Like, she's...
Just to tell him that she's not... Well, that's what she says. She's like, I try to sleep with other people on purpose, which is like the most passive aggressive.
I know.
Can relate.
She was really nice to me, so I went and fucked someone else right in front of him just to reinforce to him that, like...
Yes, and she does that with Helion after Azrael protected her.
The same day, that's why. Yeah. Shit, that's right.
Yes, she was like, Azrael did this thing, Eris said some shit about me, he tried to kill him, and now I've got to go fuck Helion to remind him, hey.
This is the only option.
Yeah, it's like... and then Azrael's
also fuck this other dude. My only choice.
I want to be with women, but I'm going to go fuck another dude to prove a point in front of Azrael.
So of all the dudes to fuck, Helion a queer man would probably be your best choice.
That's right.
He gets it. True. Bless him. Yeah, he would be supportive. It's an interesting... Yeah. That's why every time Farrah asked about Moore, they were like, Moore's got some stuff to work out.
I'm also cracked up about this because the thing that I'm learning being more like in queer social spaces, that's like a real stereotypical thing is like everybody has dated and fucked everybody and are now like best friends because it's like, well, the pool is small, so we tried dating, we didn't love that, but now we're best friends. And
you've got to.
There are like, it seems fine.
You can't keep bad blood because there's not a wide enough circle. You need one another as a community.
Right.
You don't, like, even if you've had a past relationship, you can't, like, fracture friend groups.
And it's also, I think, a very interesting, like, difference from... like hetero spaces where sex is just like off the tip, like as we've been negotiating poly stuff, it's been really confrontational to like what actually is intimacy, like if you're looking at intimacy outside of like physical sex with someone, but like I have intimate relationships with both of you, like you know weird stuff about me, and I'm very like we're like
checking the boxes of intimacy,
relationships, and so I think that just is deconstructed a little in queer spaces where it's like we've even talked on the podcast before of like, can you like maintain a casual friendship with someone when there is sexual tension? And I think that's a real like hetero located question.
It's a very it's the Tamlin of it all. It's the territorial.
It's like, well, sex can only exist in this very
it's the heteronormative. Yeah. Well, and sex is power. It's used to manipulate. Right. That's really the big part of it. Is like his first like thing is like that little sound she makes when she comes. Like he's staking a claim. Yeah, it's gross, and it's used as a way to instead of a way to enrich people's lives and feel pleasure and support one another and
this,
connect.
Like, roped off, like it's only for your one person, which also clutching. Is not true. Like every time that I see y'all, I give you a big squeeze and I kiss your little faces.
Yeah.
And that is a very casual form of intimacy that also in some hetero spaces would be like, whoa, can you believe that she just kissed my husband's cheek? Is like, okay, well.
But I think people...
You know what I mean?
Our society is deeply craving, deeply lacking in connection and intimacy. And I think that's a bigger problem. Like our fear of, and it's generational. I hope these generations to come will be so much more open and connected because wow, y'all. I mean to tie it back to the book, I'm sorry, but the Chosen Family, they really do a gorgeous job of it. Yeah. Like this is a family. Like they really, wow.
Yeah, and
it's messy, and sometimes they have sex with each other, and then
there's been sexual tension,
like To get, like, it doesn't, that's not like an end all be all of like, oh, well.
They're still pals. And because the bond is not just about sex.
Right.
Yeah. I do love that. Like, you get to see, like, Feyre has intimate relationships with each character. Like, you get some good one-on-one time with Azriel, you get one-on-one time with Cassian, you get one-on-one time with
Amryn
and Morin. Like, so, and the relationship looks different all over the place. And obviously, with Azriel and Cassian, there's no, like, underlying weird sexual tension because they're just friends. Like, this is her family.
They're buds.
It's innocent. It, like, somehow sex not being so, like, taboo or relegated within the group, even of, like, they tease Rhys about the mate. Like, they're all very aware that they all have sex.
Right.
We can smell y'all. Stop.
Yeah. So somehow being more, like, it's a paradox. Like, being more open about it actually makes it more innocent. Like,
it's what
Feyre really can have these, like, sibling relationships with Azriel and Cassian that includes, like, oh, you look really hot.
Yes, you look beautiful today.
You're gonna make a joke about your wingspan, fucking nasty.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it just is so, it's so
more
wholesome.
intimate. It's just connected. Like, why do we have to... It's removing shame, honestly. It's removing shame from the equation. And it's like, no, this is a natural part of I was going to say human experience, but they're not. This is a natural part of being people. And it's just really special. This is part of the Fae experience, okay? Speaking of the Fae experience, this fucking cauldron.
The kidnapping.
God damn it.
The Beauty and the Beast bathtub is back, you all. And
I could not wrap my mind
you know what it's doing? It's walking around, it's stealing people.
Just taking them. And then nestling up into the wall of the mountain.
Yeah.
I cannot.
Like a little dog. What the fuck is going on?
And then our girl
Sarah
going in.
What the fuck?
Dressing up as Ianthe, going in. Oh, do we even have that on here? We'll get to it, I think.
And then, I don't...
Ianthe dies in a dramatic, amazing way with the Weaver.
I just like the idea, and like Feyre like dreams about the cauldron like looking at her, and I'm like, what do you mean it's what does it have eyes? What is it? What do you mean it's looking at you? What's happening?
And then the whole situation with when Feyre has to be connected with the fucking cauldron while Amryn does her shit, and then we see all that was an excellent way to help us see all areas of the battle. I will give them that. Sorry, I'm jumping around like crazy, but that. I appreciated the cauldron then because it helped with the plot, but I can't wrap my mind around the cauldron. I need it to stop.
Is the cauldron also, we were talking about just like neutral mythical creatures. I think the cauldron kind of is too.
I think the cauldron is neutral
in trouble.
And it's just whoever is wielding it, it's whatever their will is like.
This is the ring of power. One bathtub to rule them all.
That's like Frodo's the only one who can do it because he's a hobbit and hobbits are special. And
I think that the cauldron is neutral and then Hybern sucks.
Yeah, and then
like that wasn't the cauldron's fault.
That's a good point.
Like, it's like whoever's like Sauron is bad and he has a ring and that makes the ring bad.
Whoever has the ring is the the ring can the thing that contaminates is when you're drunk on the power of having the ring or the cauldron or what have you. It is not the thing itself. Right. Similar to the mirror, it was the person looking into the mirror. It's really about personal responsibility, folks. Yeah, this is about your own shit. This is about how can you? It's like power. Some Fae are really wonderful and some Fae are really fucking horrible, and it's like, well, it's because you're stewarding your power horribly.
Yeah.
Even
so, a terrible aesthetic for a villain.
Like, should we have... I feel like we could have made it an amorphous thing. Like, it didn't have to be a bathtub.
We've got all these crazy creatures here's the thing. Whatever.
Yeah. I think that in ACOWAR, I think that she wrote something to the effect of, the cauldron. The cauldron is our god. Okay, cool. Didn't understand that now this was going to have to be an integral plot piece.
It was going to have to be a physical fucking cauldron.
And then being made... Now, I will say the cauldron idea... Well, you could just extrapolate this to another god too.
That's like mythical, like medieval,
But that's not a Beauty and the Beast bathtub.
No,
it's just a bucket.
Well, that's just us. I don't think that's that's just what we decided. I don't think that SJM would be like, yeah, I was picturing the bathtub climbing down the stairs.
This cauldron is taking people, which means that it can pick someone up
It's
And
big.
take it somewhere.
No, it took
No,
it. It had its
mythically.
siren song.
Yeah.
Elaine walked out of the
Elaine,
camp.
That's right, because Elaine is all
She got
floating
grabbed.
around.
Yeah, she just out there.
I really can relate, honestly.
She's like, oh, pretty song.
And I haven't heard from you in
A
days.
firebird. I'm gonna go over there.
Ooh.
I hear her screaming, the bird of fire.
100% can relate, honestly. It's tough to be an adult.
That was in the dream, wasn't it? Because Feyre dreamed of Grayson, like, calling her back. Like, it wasn't... It's the same as the bone carver. Like, it's not a siren song that sounds the same to everyone. Like, a siren song is custom to your...
It's like the love potion in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Like, it smells like fresh cut grass to Hermione.
Oh,
Cinnamon.
Also Little Mermaid.
Toothpaste.
Little Mermaid.
What?
Little Mermaid, the siren song.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yes,
Exactly.
whenever they sing.
Her
in it.
siren song.
Beautiful. We love to see it. Yes, the Ouroboros.
The Ouroboros.
Oh, this is how it looks written down?
That's what it looked. That's how
I heard like Aurora Borealis.
Yes.
Well.
So when my partner read it, he was like, "Oh my God, Taylor Swift, Aurora Borealis," and I was like, "No, babe.
No.
It's the
Good try.
Ouroboros.
Ouroboros.
Ouroboros is the snake that eats itself in Greek mythology, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's the Medusa of it all. Okay, fascinating. Yes, that was...
Of course, it was about reflecting on ourselves
please.
and like, all right, we
Please.
know.
So that
The
one
mirror
was-
of Erised, sure.
Yeah.
So some of these...
She's like, I looked at myself and I liked what I saw. I was like, okay.
All right, bitch.
Some
We've been
things
there.
when
Okay.
they happen, like the...
We
Like,
done been knowing it.
like these tender moments, I'm like, oh wow, that hit deep. That one, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, oh okay, I get it, but also that's so cheesy.
Yeah.
like it was a
It
little
was a
cheesy.
little, yeah. It was a bit. She got
It's
deep
for
in the
younger
sauce
audiences too. This
Yeah.
is for younger. Like
She's like, I saw myself kill those fairies, and then I saw myself do this and
But
this
then I
and
looked
this.
long enough. I mean, I did kind of relate though. I was cleaning up my closet. I just remember where it was when I read these things, but I was like, yeah, like I've done this work in therapy. Like I've, I've
that's
looked
right.
long enough at my shit. I've looked long enough at my
I think
parts,
because
and I've
we've
come
already
to
done
love.
this, I was like, okay, well,
Okay.
I've done this already,
Fine.
baby. We need to move on.
But if you haven't done it and all of a
It's
sudden you're
impactful.
confronted with it visually in the
Yeah.
mirror, then like, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
in a
that's a
mirror
good
would be
point.
scary to look at for sure.
Self-reflection, as we know
talked
it
about
to
that
be.
in Book Lovers because I felt very strongly that I would hate to be like
Yeah.
the basis for a character when
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
Nora is that inspiration. Like
I wouldn't
I
hate
don't need
that.
to know. I don't even want to like have access to my text messages from a month ago. Sometimes
I
I'm
don't-
like I'm a whole different. I'm not. That's not.
I don't know her.
I think
I don't stand by that.
No.
That's the shame, though.
I know
that
it
we have to
is.
embrace
I
past
know.
versions
I
of
know.
ourselves.
You're
We're
right.
always doing the best we can. There are no bad parts of
Yeah.
us.
You're right. She saw herself.
The first person ever who was able. Okay. Anyway, that was cute. That
That's
was cute.
just the Fae not knowing how to handle their own shit.
Truly, yeah. She was human. She was like, no, I can look my
She's
shit in
like,
the face.
She's
I'll
also
be
so
fine.
young. I bet all those other Fae, by the time they made it, had been around for like hundreds and hundreds of years.
that's a good
like
point.
that's a lot of material.
Done some
to
bad
cover.
shit.
So this was purely
Sarah's
because
like-
she only had like.
I've been here for
30
20
years.
years.
Yeah.
No, she was 19 in the first book.
Oh my
Oh
Yeah.
God! Every once in a while, in this book, it'll be like, and it was just a year ago that, and I'm like,
I know. This needs to be several years.
I have aged 3 years since reading these
Since
books.
just
like,
reading
what do
them.
you
Yeah.
mean?
I know.
Same.
I always love when people put the timelines out for different
No,
books.
I
Like,
don't
the timeline for Twilight is insane. Like, I think she knows Edward a total of like a year.
No.
Like maybe, and for part of that, he's gone.
He's gone 'cause
in
he
New Moon,
disappears.
he leaves. So like he leaves for like 7 months. So it's really just like 4 months total where she is actually spending time with him.
Oh God!
Yeah, it's
So stupid.
LOL
know.
Twilight.
It's very
She's gonna
upsetting.
live. She's gonna be just fine. So we have a note here from KTB under the Ouroboros. Want to share?
Surprise! Daddy's back. And by daddy, that's not the hot way. Their dad is back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought this was like a hot daddy because I can only hear you saying daddy in a hot way.
Shadow daddy.
Okay.
No, actual daddy.
Their
Sorry,
dad
this
has returned.
The tears I cried.
Come here.
The hormonal tears I cried whenever he showed up with the ships.
Man.
But he had been gone for so long. I did like.
It was a real bummer to be like, hey dad, and then also bye dad.
Hi, Dad. Bye, Dad.
I liked that it was like he
Go on.
came alive. It was like he had been in such a depressed place for so long, and
Sure.
so to see him, I think what was meaningful for me, and not to get into my own story, but it was really meaningful to see a depressed, withdrawn dad come alive and take ownership and support his daughters, who are incredible.
Are y'all both Game of Thrones people?
No. You've delved.
Unfortunately, but yes.
I was only imagining Sir Davos when I was reading about the dad.
Yeah.
Because he talked about being a shitty dad. I just was like Lucian and the queen that popped up at the end, Vasa. What's her name? The people that encountered the Archeron dad were like, he's so great. He was such a good father figure to me.
No.
So whatever. And so then I was imagining his own redemption arc of he probably carried a lot of shame and guilt about being depressed after his wife died and the whole poverty thing.
But to see him take responsibility,
he had an arc, and maybe that's a series thing, but it did feel very you're just gonna swoop in with this magical
Where'd you
fix
get all
everything.
these boats from?
Yeah, where'd he get all the boats? Why did he?
It was very swoopy, but it was also, I'm not glad that he died, but it was also I'm glad that we don't have to now have him in our lives.
That tied up
because
an annoying loose end.
Yeah, I do feel like that tied up an annoying loose end. I'm glad that he had a taking ownership, taking responsibility, taking initiative. That really was incredible. We love to see it. It didn't absolve him of responsibility from but I'm glad that he took it when he did. And then he died and okay.
The end. Now we can
He
all
died
move on.
in battle and
Yep.
And now
With
the
honor.
girls can
with honor
and
something that's going to be easier for them to move through now too. They've already done the grief of not having had
him
a dad in a present way.
Yeah.
So let him redeem himself, and then
it was good.
Yeah,
that I felt like that was a really.
I felt fine about that.
That was a great way to kind of tie it up. Nesta and Cassian and Hybern out. 400 question marks.
Well, because it hurt me.
Ow.
Well, so when Cassian is hurt and Nesta screams.
Oh my god.
So in the graphic audio, it is horrible.
Did she scream?
It's so loud. It's I wish I had the clip to play.
I'm glad you don't.
But it is visceral.
Wow. Ew.
Yeah. It's horrible.
That was the most connected and beautiful Nesta and Cassian, or Nesta had been towards Cassian so far. That was so them
that was
I wish we had more time, and I was if so help me God
Also,
if they die.
They've got some clear behind closed doors things happening between the two of them, and I want to hear about all of that.
Yeah, I'm invested. Is that the next
my one
one?
regret in this life is that we did not have time.
I know. My one regret in this life is that we did not have time. And then for them to not die, and now it's now you have time. Okay.
Yeah, they sure do.
I hope that they confidently walk right into that now that they've survived.
It felt like such a gift.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's gonna be an enemies to lovers.
I love it.
Well, all my dreams are gonna come true.
I love Nesta so much.
Yeah.
Because she's so angry.
She's so mad.
I love it.
She's so mad.
As an angry woman myself, I enjoy and appreciate her perspective.
I love about Nesta too that she will not put on a show. She's not putting on a performance for anybody at any time. She has no interest in making people more comfortable around her. And I love that. I think that's such a different... it's hard to be a female identified person and feel that way.
Yeah, she's very unapologetically.
She doesn't give a shit. Because I think where she, her circumstances growing up were so, survival oriented that she's why would I possibly waste my time?
She was the one who talked to the High Lord. She was sit down, all of you.
Sit your asses down.
Quit fucking around.
Come on.
The King of Hybern is going to fuck some shit up. Y'all can either get on this, or he's going to wreck you too. Come on. And they all fell in line. I think it was amazing.
They listened to her and they're something's weird about her.
Is she death?
Her power is death.
Her power is death.
Lady Death.
Oh, so good.
I love her.
Okay,
I love
I'm
it.
really excited
I'm ready
to learn
for more about her.
Elaine and
Absolutely.
Truth Teller is next.
That fucking sword.
He gave it to Elaine, which is cute.
Is she gonna give it back, or is that hers now? Is Elaine now the like wielder of Truth Teller, or was that like a little?
I think he gets it back.
He gets it back.
I don't remember that being a
know
big
that.
plot point, so I'm assuming he has it back.
Okay, I bet he has it back.
Cool.
I don't think she wants it. Like, I don't think she's...
She don't need that.
Yeah, that's
I
not
liked
for her.
Elaine stepping into her strength. I'm like, okay, all right.
Sure.
I also was imagining, like, a visual version of this where, like, reading it was suspenseful, but, like, I've seen scenes like that in fantasy shows where you're, like, real zoomed in on the bad guy,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden a sword bursts through the back of their
Sure,
ship and
yes.
scares you to death, and then it's like, he falls away,
But
and
then
a
for it
reveal,
to be Elaine!
Like,
It was very
I can
cinematic.
It was classic.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
it was
cinematic. Good, thank
It was
you.
cinematic. It was like our neural pathways are like, oh
Yeah,
yes,
I get
we
it.
recognize what's going
I
down here.
understand.
This is
Yeah.
a trope of its own, and we love it.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Here for it.
And then Reese. This was a lot. This,
Y'all, I have read enough books to know when the point of view switches that it's not fucking good.
no,
If that's a bad sign.
that means
Bad.
someone's dying.
And when it switched to Reese's point of view, I was like, uh-oh.
Ruh-roh.
Oh no, something terrible is going to happen.
And it sure did.
It sure did.
Yeah.
Wow.
And-
This was uncalled for.
What?
This was.
And Reese said it the whole damn
was
time. He
too
was like, I
fucking
will
much.
die for my city. I will die for the Court of Dreams. I will die for it.
Everybody knew it.
Yeah.
Everybody was pissed at him about it. Everybody was trying to be like,
It's like,
what if you didn't?
What if you just didn't do
if
that?
you
But
didn't
could you
do that?
stop being a martyr? Well, and
he could
or
not.
a hero. Yeah, just turntables. He could not. Well, and Feyre was just like, if I would have known that, like no, I forget what she said. It was something to the effect of like, if I would have known that you were going to pull this shit.
I think
I mean,
that
she was mad.
Yeah.
For good reason.
She was angry.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty clear what he was doing, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
But
like,
it's so consistent, of
yeah.
course.
This is what he's doing.
I did have some moments there where I did not necessarily know that he was going to make it because I hadn't read the Christmas special and I just
I
didn't
hadn't read it all the
know.
way through. But
I mean, the first time I was like, oh, because no one feels safe ever.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I was like, when the battle was happening, I was like, are we going to lose Azriel or Cassian in this? Because this is, things do not feel good to
The
me right
Aaron
now.
situation.
Yeah, Amryn.
I was
Because that's how
really-
Reese comes back.
Yeah.
That was, I got goosebumps. That was wild.
I had my feelings super big hurt when, for a moment, we thought that Amryn had betrayed us
Oh,
to the cauldron.
Yeah,
I was
no.
like, I found that pretty devastating
Yeah.
because she's been
Well,
a real bottom bitch.
She's wild. Oh, but then for her to like, then be able to come back, but come back as she's Faye, right? Is that how it landed?
I think so. Not high fae though.
Yeah.
I think she's made kind of like Nesta.
Yeah, she's able to now
Oh, yeah.
be here and be among the people. I want to be where the people are. I want to live this life.
I want to be.
That was so
where the
sweet
people
too
are.
when Reese was like, well, I saw her like she hadn't left all the way yet, so I just
So I
reached out a hand.
Asked if she'd like to.
And she wanted
I cried. Oh, my heart. It's just so powerful. Okay, I mean, it was a lot. These I know now, of course, it's always going to be a lot at the end of the book, but my God.
And you know what I did not like to listen to?
What?
I surely did not like to listen to Feyre begging the Fire Lords to give Reese back. I was like, please stop. It hurts me.
Yep,
She's like,
that was
his chest
painful.
wasn't rising because he
Felt real
wasn't
tender.
breathing. And she's like, please, God, give him back to me.
That was
Ah!
devastating.
That was tough.
That was unnecessarily intense. We didn't need it
And
to
who
be
was the
that
first one that did it?
absolutely
Was it
traumatizing.
It was
Very
Tarquin. That was
extremely
the first
upset.
one, right?
Yeah, wow.
I think they're going to be besties for life now. I think that after
Who's-
Tarquin,
Oh, Tarquin
I think
and
they're going to
Reese.
have like a new special relationship now that they've kind of like moved through some real conflict.
They moved through some.
I think that I think that's going to be
Gorgeous.
a lasting relationship. I hope it is. I hope he's friends with them.
I love them all being tight now.
Yeah.
Our final note here is be happy, Feyre. KTB.
Tamlin.
Oh, is that wait?
him.
Is that what Tamlin said?
Yeah.
That's what Tamlin said when he gave his
When he
little
gave-
drop.
Okay. Well,
Whatever, Tamlin.
Tamlin,
Get the fuck out.
I think
that's exactly what I thought. I was like, okay, fine. Leave your little
Bye.
drop. Don't say anything and just leave.
I think this is SJM tying up the loose end of Tamlin, because Tamlin was the main character, and we're moving on.
Yeah,
Tamlin, we're closing the Tamlin chapter.
Yeah,
like we're close. So like we're landing that plane.
I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah,
and I think all the devastation in the Spring Court is a perfect reason to not hear from him again. He's rebuilding. He's reestablishing. Is there a faction in the fandom that is pro Tamlin? Does that exist?
There is a faction. There are people who would like to see a Tamlin redemption arc.
Okay.
And I am not one of those people.
I feel like we have gotten what we needed to get from the Tamlin story.
Much redemption as I'm open to,
that's
really.
enough for me.
This
and I don't need to hear about it anymore.
Yeah, this is a
done.
toxic ex who, you know what, I've come to peace with this toxic ex living their life. I'm going to live my life. We have gone our separate ways. That's what I feel about Tamlin. I think we're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
And happy she will be, but not because of him. And no thanks to him. Although, thank you for that little drop. We're good. But you know what? All done.
It's also interesting to me that Feyre did adopt all the powers from the other courts, but it doesn't seem like that's the case for Rhys.
I was going to ask about that. If he's already the most powerful High Lord, then to get a little bit of all of their powers,
it seems to me that he's the same. Like,
yeah,
he's just the same he was before.
And I think he would have told us, like, because he's so in touch with all of his power and keeping the damper on it or whatever.
I think it is addressed either in the Christmas special or in Solar Flames, where he's like, nah, it's just me. I'm the same as I was before.
I think it was in this one.
Yeah, okay. So he does say,
end.
I don't feel any different.
Yeah. Well, good, I guess, because Jesus. I don't know that he needs to be able to do all this.
No, I think he's got enough.
I think he's really good. I think
he keeps busy.
He doesn't he miss like 500 people at one time?
Amazing. So many.
They just disappeared.
Rhys, we love you.
Some little scraps of metal clinking down. You're like a Disney, like a Looney Tune.
It was.
They're just gone.
Like a Looney Tune.
Yeah, that was no Lord of the Rings
when they like run away so fast that then it's just like one shield like falling on the ground.
That's exactly what it's like.
Dear God.
Oh my gosh.
Woof.
Well,
we have previously already ranked all of these characters. I think
the rankings hold.
Yeah, for Rhys, I think it stays the same. He's 5s across the board.
Amazing. Feyre, I feel the same. You know, that like, okay.
I was less irritated with her in this book than I have been in previous ones.
Well, she's stepping into her power.
Yeah. I think she's having some growth, and I think also I'm just like, okay, well, I know that you're gonna fuck around in your own special way.
Well, don't worry, she'll make you hate her in the 4th book.
Okay,
so
good.
If you were worried that you weren't gonna hate her anymore, you will.
Cool. We'll
be like, what the fuck is wrong?
We'll do a
with you?
check-in at the end of every episode of these. So we'll check in again on how I feel.
I was just unfortunately super preoccupied by all the wrong holes in this book. I found myself like really enjoying it, and then being like,
really enjoying this book.
It's been so long since I have read a smut scene. You know, just like waking up and being like, I care about the plot so much. I'm so annoyed.
The spice that was there was hot.
It was
hot, but
I think there are maybe 4 scenes total.
I feel like as real
100-page book.
Yeah. Jesus. As real smut connoisseurs at this point, we're not here for the smut. We're here for like,
this is not
the hot fairies doing hot stuff.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful and cool, and that's why we're here.
This is like a 2, probably.
Yeah. On the
same as the last one.
Yeah.
Like, hey, the spice is there. It's good. But
purely in terms of like the proportions of
the frequency is just
it's
did you know how many sex scenes you could put in an 800-page book?
Oh my god.
Yeah, you really could. Well, you know what? It sounds like she remedies that in the next book. SJM. It's for the girlies.
Cassian, he's
All right, that's a little foreplay shadowing.
Foreplay
shadowing.
Nesta really does enjoy having his dick in her mouth.
Okay.
Nesta.
Okay. All right.
Oh.
I am curious. My interest is piqued.
I mean, I certainly will not stop reading these now. Like, I'm gonna read them all.
We're 2,000 pages into this damn series.
I've
the
sold
time
my soul.
commitment at this point is...
I've invested.
Yeah.
Well, that's the next one. Is it Christmas special and then
Frost and Starlight is in between the next two. It's in between the next one and this one.
It's really short.
It's like 150 pages. It's super short.
Should we roll that into, or we'll see.
We can do a combo.
We'll see.
Yeah.
If you want.
We'll do a combo.
That could also be a light week. Y'all be doing your homework for the podcast.
We do it for our listeners. Let me tell you, I bet we
would still have a bunch to talk about on 150 page.
We really would.
You know. I could just do a dramatic reading of the sex scene that's in that book. It's very good.
Just the one.
You're welcome, listeners. You have that to look forward to.
But it's worth it.
You've said that.
An entire book is worth one sex scene. That's saying something.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we have for this week. Thank you all so much for listening. We realize that this book is very special and important to so many people.
Yeah.
And we can't cover every single thing that happens. I wish that we could.
I mean, we could, but
so if we skipped over your most favorite part, please email us at ourkinkykindlespod@gmail.com. You can also follow us on TikTok at OKKPod.
And Goodreads. Our Kinky Kindles. You can see what we have already reviewed and read, and what we will one day have a bookshelf that anticipates what is going to be read.
That's right. So you can keep up, read along with us.
So coming out soon. Mm-hmm. I know, yes, because folks are wanting to read along with us. All of our listeners.
That's right.
Coming up soon, we have The Summer I Turned Pretty on the docket.
Yes, we have our little mini-series.
4-episode mini-series of chaos.
Yep, it's pure chaos.
It is so fun.
It is truly bonus content. If you don't like to listen to 4 people like just giggle and scream into the microphone for a couple hours, then you can skip those. But it's just silly. It's just silliness to have on in the background.
We are Jeremiah girlies. I mean, maybe also Cameron.
That's your informed consent.
Conrad. No. That's another problem.
Your informed consent is that we are Team Jeremiah. So sorry.
Yeah. Sorry about it. But hey, we welcome your pushback.
That's right.
So we appreciate the banter. So thank you so much for listening, y'all.
That's right.
Thanks to our special guest.
Yes, thank you, Hope, for joining us. We really appreciate all the input that you have.
Always.
And until next time, don't be thinking too much about that Beauty and the Beast bathtub. It's really upsetting to think about.
Real strange.
Bye. Bye.